circle from all that stressed. We trust the guardians, trust the guides, trust the open and what's inside. When the moon is high, it's time to fly. Open your mind, let it all unwind. Let's get disenraged, time to engage. Turn another page, free from your cage. Get disenraged. When you feel like you've had enough and the week was busy and tough, you need a break, you need some fun. You need to take time from the run. We'll blow your mind, we're just in time. Seek and ye shall find. Time to unwind, let's get disenraged. Time to engage. Turn another page, free from your cage. Get disenraged. Aliens, ghosts, spirits and shadows, spirituality, ultra reality, the Bible, the pagans, all the conspiracies, tarot, astrology, and alternate history. Open your heart to other possibilities and get disenraged. Time to engage. Turn another page, free from your cage. Get disenraged, 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 disenraged.
What up? Welcome to DISENRAGE, everyone. Hey, Jennifer, how's it going? How are you?
Carly, yeah, good. Just watching the season change and these beautiful leaves out here turning golden orange. And there's one sugar maple I can see from my living room window that just it like ripens like an apple until it turns burgundy. It's so pretty.
Man.
I love it.
It is getting cold out. I was trying to find my jacket. I have a jacket somewhere in my house that has gone missing. I'm like, it's about time I need that jacket. But yeah, no, it is definitely fall in New Hampshire. The leaves are changing color and all that stuff. And of course I'm getting on a plane and leaving tomorrow. So
yeah, that's so I'm heard. I won't ask. I know it's a super secret mission.
Yep. It's a secret mission to the West Coast where I'll be making multiple. I don't even have my return plane ticket booked yet. I honestly don't even know when I'm coming back. This
oh God, Karlyn.
Actually an adventure. So I have like the first part of the trip planned. I have a basic mise en scène of what I'm going to do for the second part. But you know what? I'm just like, I have a strong feeling that I just need to just like wait just a second. I need to let some things kind of like unfold because there are a couple things that it kind of like, it really does depend on like what happens, what I'm going to do. And so it is very conceivable that I could go in a completely different thing. I'm going to stay. Yeah, I'm basically going to stay on. I'm going to stay on the West Coast forever. No, I would never do that.
You don't want to
no,
get caught up.
New Hampshire is way better. So, but that'll be. But for next week, I will be doing the show from a secret, undisclosed location, and it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. So for people who are new, because we have so many freaking new people on the channel now.
Yeah,
the amount of new people that are watching Jennifer is a little bit weird. We used to get like 3 people watching us, and now
it wasn't that bad. We had like maybe 20 to 50, depending. You know, now it's like I can't see it unless I look it up. You're the one who can see who's.
There's like 116 people right now, but it'll keep going up there. So it's cool.
Yay! Yeah, well, we got over 5,000 views on the last DISENRAGE.
Yeah, I was like, that's
blew my fucking mind.
That's crazy. And for people who don't know, for people who might be new, so DISENRAGE is a show that Jennifer and I do on Tuesday nights where this is not about politics. This is not about news. This is about spirituality and crystals and tarot cards and astrology and aliens and conspiracy theories. And basically, this is my break. This is my break. This is Jennifer. This is our break from the real world and the internet. And we get to talk about fun stuff. And there's no proselytizing and there's no damning us to hell. We are not Christians. No offense to Christians. We don't mind if Christians watch, but we don't want any proselytizing or anything like that. That's against the rules.
Right. Yeah. We love you. We respect you. And we ask for the same respect in return. Please do not come here and try to convert me. I am a witch. I used to be a pagan. I used to be a Christian and I chose to go to paganism. So that's all about choices. That's God gave us free will. So we love you. Just sit back and relax, have fun with it, make fun of us behind our backs, but not in the chat because that will get you in trouble.
Yeah, we don't go into your church and make fun of you, even though don't think we don't want to, Christians. Don't think we don't like I was gonna like Christians really don't think that other people want to make fun. They have a persecution complex, so like whatever. Anyway, we don't make fun of you. This is our church. This is our time to talk about the things we want to talk about. And if you don't like it, you don't have to be here. Go somewhere else on the internet. It's really that simple.
Yep.
So
there's a lot of people who think other things, and I think it's good to have a show that does live commentary and question and answer and things like that addresses those other beliefs that people have.
Yep. So Jennifer, I wanted to show you something last week, and it's a little bit morbid and it's a little bit weird, and I actually feel self-conscious about showing it to you, but like one of the first ever episodes of DISENRAGE that we did together, it was a very sad episode. It was about you because you had just lost your dog.
Phelan.
And so we were watching about like what happens when pets die and the afterlife of pets and things like that. And it was very sad. And I of course started crying because if you talk about dogs dying at all, like it's over. Yeah. It's all over. Nick Incognito says hello to the beautiful ladies. Isn't Nick a charmer?
We love Nick. Nick's always got our backs.
So then
I lost two more dogs after that. So it was just like that was the start of me losing my mind for about a year.
Well, yeah, and I empathize much more now than I did then because of course I lost my dog, Honey, in April, and I'm gonna cry.
Oh God. Okay.
So I've had a really hard time with losing my dog because that was my dog.
Yeah. Oh, I understand.
Oh. I got a clone made of my dog.
Oh my gosh, look at that. I never heard about these.
And I know it's morbid, but I kept getting these ads on Instagram for these things. And I was like, that's really weird to have a clone made. But then I was like, you know what? I really want to hold my dog again. So,
Karlyn. Oh. Does it make you feel better?
It actually does. In like a weird way. And I just have her, I don't even know what to do with it. I just have it sitting here on the desk, kind of looking at me while I'm working. But it's amazing how much it looks like my dog. And when I got this, I like they like you upload. How it works is like you upload like 10 pictures, and you're supposed to do it from as many angles as possible. And then they emailed me even asking for more pictures because they want it was like they want to get every single part of it correct to like. You know, her belly looking like her belly or her tail or her ears being back or even like Honey used to have all these like just like little fluffy things coming off of her paws and they got those. And it is amazing how much this looks like my dog. It is amazing. And so I wanted to share this even though it's going to make me cry because it has actually helped and it's made me feel better. And so I wanted to share that.
I love that. I love that you did that for yourself. My two dogs, Phelan and Kina, were huge. They were, I think Phelan was almost 80 pounds when he passed away, and Kina was about 75 or almost 80. They were big babies. But my little Asha puppy that I had to put to sleep at 10 weeks would be a candidate for something like that, or even my cats. But except for, I don't know. Yeah, that's wow. Talk about some personal therapy. Good for you.
Yeah, no, it was a really good, and like I said, like it feels morbid. It's like I have a clone of my dog that's sitting on my desk looking at me, but at the same time, it really has like helped
Oh yeah, I had my vet who helped me. Well, unfortunately, had to help me euthanize Asha, and she went through treatment and trying to help me keep her alive for the whole time we had her. When she passed away, she had me send her a picture, and she put it in. I think I showed it to her, and it was a little round ornament, little 2-dimensional ornament that has her name, and it's just I used to just stare at that and talk to it and kiss it, and and just cry and after about 6 months of that, I was like, I need to put this away. It is not helping me move on. And so I actually put her downstairs. She's still on display, but it's just not like in my face where I am all the time. But it was like just what I needed, because I felt like I had to keep apologizing to her, that I couldn't afford what had to happen to her. Her surgery. I could afford the surgery. I couldn't afford the aftercare. Yeah. It was, oh God. Yeah. I love that you did that. And it's going to help heal your heart. I think so.
God, see now I'm crying. Oh no.
It's okay.
The struggle is real when it comes to pets. Yeah. I knew I was gonna cry, but I was like, I really did want to share that, and I want people to know, like I mean, I think I use cuddle clones. Oh, even look at this. Look at this. So they have a tag on the back. It actually says her name on the tag. They embroidered a tag.
Honey. That's so sweet.
So I use cuddle clones. I guess there are other ones out there, but
what's the texture like? Is she kind of squishy or is it firm?
It is firm. Like the fur isn't as soft as her fur was, but it looks a lot like it. And so the other thing too is they actually, so I did the feature where like you can add weight to it, because like Honey used to always like sit on me, so they added like a little bit of weight to it.
Oh,
they can put a zipper in it, so I guess some people store their pets' ashes in the
yeah.
And they have a thing too where apparently, and I didn't do this because this is actually just like slightly too weird for me. They actually have a thing they can put in it that makes it feel like it's still breathing.
Oh no, I don't know about that.
See that? I was like, that's going, okay, I understand mourning, I understand coping, I understand all that. That's going a little too far for me. But maybe it'll be good for some people. I don't know.
Yeah, it might help them cope with everybody has different ways that they need to cope. I think like if I could choose something that would make me amazed, like heal my heart, it would be with my cats that have passed away, to have a recording of their purr.
Mm-hmm.
Like to have that playing. I think that would be amazing. And unfortunately, 2 of them passed away before, the cell phone was a computer. So, but now it's, I mean, gosh, that would be that I could hold a clone of and listen to her purr and listen to their voice. That'd be really helpful.
Yeah. So I recommend it if people need that. I know a lot of people, like if there's one thing that brings us all together, it's losing a pet fucking sucks.
Yeah. It was the worst. It was
the worst. I saw someone ask in the chat, like, what my other dog thought of it. Kobe kind of sniffed it and he looked at it a little bit, but it doesn't smell like honey. And so it's like Kobe was like I put it next to him and I think he like cuddled up to it a little bit, but he was like, yeah. It's like not interested.
Yeah.
Doesn't have the smell.
Yeah, that makes he probably wouldn't recognize the form of it, but the smell would be the thing, and
yeah.
Anyway, and plus the fact that it's it's stationary, so
yeah,
he probably thinks that's a familiar looking pillow.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. He's like, oh, is this a new toy for me? Okay.
Oh yeah.
That's what I was afraid. He's gonna start chewing, and I'm gonna be like, "You killed Honey."
That would not be okay. That would not be fucking okay.
No. So Honey is staying up here with me for the time being.
Good.
Anyway, that was what I wanted to share, and then obviously I got a shout out on Joe Rogan. That was pretty ridiculous. Did you see that?
I did, and I wished he'd said your last name too. He just said your first name, but it's not like people don't know who Karlyn is. You're like Madonna now.
Yeah. Well, I kind of like that because I've always fancied myself as like this kind of cult figure that like it's kind of like if like if like it's like maybe not everyone knows. I'm never gonna be a household name. I would never fucking want to be a household name if I'm being honest about it. Yeah. But
sometimes the things that happen to make you one are not things you want to have happen.
Well, that's so true. But I kind of like this idea of like being this cult figure, like Karlyn, the fascist that drinks and yells at conservative. I was like, this is like it was like just the most perfect clip. I was like, and he's wearing a priest outfit to make fun of like religion and stuff. I was like, oh.
I love how he thought of what he loved about you was how you made fun of him, and he loved her tone of voice, and he just like, she's great. I thought that was really cool, and he doesn't know. I also like that he gave the disclaimer that he doesn't know how much of it is a joke and how much of it is serious, and we all kind of know it's a little tongue in cheek, but it's also not. We get it. It's a gray area.
It is, but it isn't. But
It
it
is, but it
is,
isn't.
but it is.
But
And
it
I
isn't,
kind of
yeah.
feel like that's what my work is really best, when you don't know what I believe, when you don't know what side I'm on, if you don't know I'm joking or if I'm being serious.
Yeah.
It's a little inconvenient sometimes when I'm like, no, seriously, guys, I'm being serious right now. And everyone's like, ha ha. I'm like, no, really, I'm being serious right now.
Well, a good cult leader keeps their followers on their toes.
Yeah. Exactly. Anyway, so we are watching, we are doing a two-parter over the next couple of weeks. We're going to be learning about the history of Halloween. What are you going to be for Halloween this year, Jennifer? Are you getting a costume?
No, I don't. I know. I usually am the pumpkin queen for Halloween, and I've got pumpkin lights, and I got big lit up inflatable pumpkin patches, and a little pumpkin snowman, and I have pumpkins or jack-o'-lanterns everywhere. I'm a jack-o'-lantern queen, and this year, we're trying to sell the house, so it's like I don't know if it would sell well with a big thing of jack-o'-lanterns in front of it. It looks still like someone else's home, but we're not going to worry about anything this year. In fact, I would like to have the house sold by Halloween. That would be optimal.
That would be ideal.
Yeah. I'd like to be I'd like to dress like a mover. I want to be a mover for Halloween.
You should dress like the wife of a mover and have your husband do it all.
Oh, we're hiring people this time. We're just like, fuck it. Yeah, we're hiring. We're getting pods, and then I think pod service. I'm not sure if they provide movers, but if they do, we're gonna ask them for that, because neither of us feel like hauling shit anywhere in all those boxes, and forget it. No, not this time.
That's a smart thing. But we're gonna be watching a video tonight, guys. It is called hang on, it is called, Karlyn needs to find the video on her desktop. It is called The Entire History of Halloween, from pagan ritual to global phenomenon. So for people who are new, what we do on the show is we basically find videos about different topics that we're interested in, and we watch them. And we may drink and we may craft while we're watching them, and we talk and we pause the video and we, say what we think, and people can banter in the chat, and it's just super laid back, and it's just, we're sitting around, we're just hanging out, watching videos. That's it.
If you want to have a specific question answer and we don't see it in the chat, send a super chat. We'll definitely address any questions. I am a high priestess, for those people who don't know. So, I mean, I might be a little preoccupied in my head because I have a lot of things in my real life going on, but I am always happy to answer questions. So,
Jennifer will curse you and turn you into a toad if you act like a retard in the chat. It's like you thought you go ahead, sorry.
I think I hacked your stream the other day. I wasn't serious. I didn't actually do it, but you couldn't make something play, and I'm like, no, we don't want to see it. Or so, people were like, no, and you're like, I'm gonna play it, and then it wouldn't play. I don't remember what that was. Anyway, every day feels like 2 days. So as far as I know, it was either yesterday or it was last week. I don't know.
Yep. I did just turn Power Chat on for you, Owl. So if you want to send something through Power Chat, please feel free to do so. But I'm gonna be starting a new knitting project while we're streaming today.
You finished the other one.
I did. Well, it actually came out. Let me show you. It actually kind of came out. That's not two people. That's two people.
That's okay.
It kind of came out cool because it's a different shape than what I intended, because it's like you'll see it has bunny ears basically.
Oh wow. Does it go over your shoulders?
Yeah, but actually, yeah, I got that. That's exactly what I'm saying. It actually just sits very nicely over my shoulders.
It's a shrug.
It's like a shrug, yeah. And I'm gonna I think attach the sides to the back, so it is more like a shrug, but it looks cool. The colors are cool.
Yeah.
And this thing on the back, and that hangs over my back, and so it turned out actually pretty cool, if I'm being honest.
Very hypnotic. I love it.
It was not my intention to do it this way, but you know what? Knitting sometimes takes you places that you don't intend to go.
Very true. I actually found my crochet, and I found my playing putty too. So, but I don't know if I feel like it's nice just to sit and relax and listen to the video right now, because if I start trying to multitask, I'm just too stressed out to multitask, I think is the thing.
It can be stressful to craft and watch videos about Halloween at the same time.
Yep.
True.
I just need I need more tea. That's what I need. Some more of my tea.
Yeah, I actually am just starting the MCAL. That's what I'm starting, is the West Knits Mystery knit along, which I should have started 2 weeks ago, but I wasn't done that, so I didn't have my knitting needles, and now I do have my knitting needles because I finished it.
Ooh,
So
exciting.
all right, we're gonna do the first half of this week. We will do the second half of it next week, and let's just hang out and relax and have a good time.
Let's do it.
Did you send a power chat? Did your message go through? I don't see it, Owls. I don't see it. You might have to resend it.
Before the candy, before the plastic masks, there was a night when the masks were real. It was a time of genuine terror, a belief that the veil between worlds had vanished, and that you had to hide from the things that hunted the darkness. This world of primal fear never truly disappeared. It was simply tamed, sanitized, and sold back to us as a night of games. The story of how this fire became a piece of candy, and how a night of survival became a child's holiday, is the true, unmasked story of Halloween. That great bonfire was a tool, a weapon wielded in a war against darkness.
So ominous.
But to understand the weapon, one must first understand the battlefield. The ancient Celtic world was governed by a perception of time radically different from our own. For them, time was a great wheel, a vast and repeating cycle of seasons and festivals that turned eternally, and human existence was bound inextricably to its rhythm. This cosmic wheel was divided into two essential halves. There was a light half, representing summer, growth, and life, which began with the great fire festival of Beltane in the spring.
Beltane.
And there was a dark half.
My other favorite
representing winter,
holiday.
decay,
Holy day. High
and
day.
the proximity of the
Sabbath.
supernatural world.
Wait,
This
what is the deal with Beltane? Remind me what the deal with Beltane is. Maybe he'll
Beltane, think Maypole, May Day. It's the spring festival of fertility, and it's where
like in Midsummer where they're doing the dance around the pole.
Yeah, except they did it in Midsummer, and Beltane actually happens in May, and it's fertility rituals. It's a lot of people get married. A lot of pagans will hand fast or commit for a year and a day. A lot of people will do fertility rituals and try and get pregnant around that time. But there's actually some rituals where people would wear masks and go running off into the forest, find each other. They don't know who, but they would. It's the stag and the maiden kind of a chasing. Yes.
I see. That's fun.
Yes.
Half was inaugurated by the second great.
And for new people too, just in case so this is an important fun fact about Jennifer. Jennifer is a professional writer of erotic fiction.
Yes.
So
well, it's spicy romance. I don't want to make it sound like it's too sexy.
It's very sexy. And Jennifer thinks I haven't read her books. I have actually read her books. And
what? Get out!
Like, surprise, I actually did read your book. Yes. And the first one. Well, I read at least most of the first one.
Okay.
So Jennifer is a writer of erotic fiction, so you should expect a lot of sexual jokes and innuendo and things that are appropriately inappropriate. Appropriately inappropriate.
There's also some like in jokes that we've been working on for the year that we've been doing DISENRAGE, so you might see them in the chat. Even Karlyn might say a few, but every now and then it's like certain little thing pops up. Like, well, we read John Morgan's fan fiction on Sunday, and you and I both got killed by a giant red dildo.
Yeah.
So, which was fucking perfect.
Occasionally we do reviews of alien dick dildos on the channel, and everyone just should be prepared for that. This is, this is a not safe for work show. It's after 9 o'clock, and so we feel like we're allowed.
Yes, we swear, and also maybe not safe for underage children. Just so
maybe send the kids out of the room if you're going to watch the show.
Fire festival, the one that concerned them most, the festival of Samhain. For the agrarian and pastoral peoples of Iron Age Ireland and Britain, this cycle was the central reality of their existence. Their survival depended entirely on their ability to move in harmony with the turning of the wheel. The seasons dictated when to plant, when to harvest, when to move the cattle from the high pastures back to the safety of the settlements. Their lives were an annual story of birth, abundance, decay, and rebirth, mirrored in the world around them. This worldview stands in stark contrast to the modern linear model of time. Our lives are governed by a sense of constant...
I'm sorry. What, do we already have a time is not real? Did we already do that? We are 2 minutes into the video. Have we already hit the time is not real portion of the video?
I thought it said something about linear time. I was reading the chat and I didn't pay attention.
The alternate is the linear time.
Oh.
The normal is the time is not real. The alternate is linear time. I
am very alternative.
Time's not real.
Forward progression, an arrow shot from the past into an ever-receding future. The Celtic worldview was one of eternal return. The past was never truly gone. The future had always happened before. This created
the past was never gone. The future has always happened before.
Where the patterns of myth
the wheel
and the actions
time.
of ancestors were immediate and ever-present forces.
Oh my god! Even for cave people or primitive
Within this
people?
eternal cycle, the most vital moments were the points of transition. The joints of the year, where the great wheel shifted from one state to another, were understood to be times of considerable cosmic instability. These were moments when the normal laws of reality became thin and
Power chat didn't go through, Owls.
And the shift into the dark half at Samhain was the most defining and the most dangerous transition of all.
Dun dun dun.
The very name of this most dangerous transition, Samhain, reveals its pragmatic and deeply realistic nature. It translates from Old Irish to summer's end, the stark, pastoral acknowledgement of a terrifying truth. It was the great hinge upon which the entire year pivoted, the final shuddering turn of the wheel that locked the world into the dark half. The name contains no gods or demons, only the simple, final fact. Summer was over, and the darkness was coming.
So
for the Celtic peoples, this was a moment of enormous...
Go ahead.
There are 3 pagan harvest festivals in the wheel of the year. And I think I want to say it's Mabon, Letha, and Samhain. I have a tickle in my throat and it's making me insane. Hang on one second.
Sorry. We got a super chat from Owls Are Cool, or power chat rather, so I'll read that. I sent the link to Leftist Pagan channel in the Twitter DMs. I think it would make a good DISENRAGE episode. The video in particular is about reclaiming European ancestry. Oh, I see why you want to watch this. Although I do agree with some things said. I'm not a fan of the way they go about it. Well, I'll take a look at that video and maybe we can watch it for a future episode. Thanks so much, Owls Are Cool. Appreciate the power chat.
Is that a Jewish reference?
Yes.
Okay. I'm catching up. It's fine. But anyway, so then Samhain is the final harvest festival of the year. And what do we harvest? Corn, pumpkins, all kinds of squash, your winter vegetables, root vegetables. They probably get a lot of carrots, probably your last round of apples, that kind of thing. And then you would prepare it to that sustains you throughout the year, depending on what you could grow. A lot of people get their last oats, so they would eat oats for most of the winter if you're in Northern Europe. But it would depend. And so one of the big and I've always been curious, and I've done some research on this, but I can't find a direct answer as to why universally it is considered the time of year when the veil is the thinnest. And the veil meaning the physical reality and the realms and the spiritual realms. And I can't find where, but I'm wondering if it's because of the transition. And it feels ominous. But the other thing people don't know is that Beltane, the opposite of Samhain, also the veil is the thinnest. So the 2 thinnest times of the year are Beltane and Samhain. But for some reason, we make Beltane about bringing new spirits in for birth and fertility. But in Samhain, it's about letting them go and communing. And it's probably just has to do with like the life cycle and harvest cycle. And
isn't it kind of like with the moon where like the full moon does different things than the new moon though? Is it kind of like one of those? Like you want to, what is it? I always forget. You want to bring things in under the new moon and let things go under the full moon?
Not full. So waxing is abundance, that you're bringing things in. Waxing is getting into fullness, bringing it into form and shape. And then as it's waning into the new moon and diminishing, think of the form follows function, right? So to increase, the moon is increasing, you're increasing what you want. When the moon is disappearing, you're disappearing what you don't want, or letting go.
Okay, that makes sense. Yep.
Yeah, and the wheel of time is very similar.
So when you start when you start a new moon, then you do like a new moon wish list where I want to bring these things into my life. Like a full moon wish list is you want to push them out of your life.
You want to let them go. Yeah. Let them wane. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Got it.
Yep.
Cool.
Practical significance. With the harvest now gathered and the growing season finished, communities brought their livestock down from the high summer pastures. These herds were the lifeblood of the community, their primary source of wealth and sustenance. But the stored fodder was finite,
there we go.
And not all animals could be fed through the lean, cold months. Samhain was therefore the time of the cull, when the weaker animals were slaughtered and their meat preserved for the winter ahead. This necessary act infused the season with the tangible reality of death. The end of summer was mirrored by the end of life for a portion of the herd. This agricultural bloodshed, combined with the growing darkness and the biting cold, created a pervasive psychological atmosphere. It was a time when the boundary between life and death felt thin, because the evidence of it was everywhere, in the harvested fields, in the preserved meat, and in the very air itself. This period was understood as being liminal, a concept integral to the Celtic worldview. Samhain was a time that existed outside of time. It belonged neither to the summer that had just ended, nor to the winter that was about to begin. It was a crack in the temporal fabric of the cosmos, a space between the spokes of the great wheel. And within such a space, the normal rules of the universe were suspended.
Like time.
The most notable consequence
Oh,
of
we're
this
doing one of
temporal
those
collapse
nights. I
was
see.
the effect
Okay.
it had on the barrier between
you.
the physical world
I don't make the
and the
rules.
supernatural. The Celts believed in the existence of the otherworld, a parallel dimension that was the home of their gods, ancestors, and a host of non-human beings. This realm was typically invisible and inaccessible to mortals. But during the liminal period of Samhain, the walls between these two realities grew thin and permeable. The otherworld and the human world bled into one another. This was the elemental belief of the festival. It was the source of its supernatural danger, as strange forces could now walk the earth. But it was also the source of its unique potency, offering a fleeting opportunity for mortals to peer across the veil. It was this belief, above all others, that dictated the urgent, desperate rituals that would define the night of Samhain. The figures who mediated between the human world and the dangerous realm of the otherworld were the Celtic priests, the Druids. Our modern image of these figures, shrouded in white robes and performing mystical rites, comes almost entirely from a single, highly compromised source: the Romans.
The
For
Romans
the Celts were a
compromised.
people to be conquered,
Yeah, they
and the
fucked
Druids
everything up.
were a
Fucking
dangerous
Italian.
political authority
Rip.
that had to be broken. The most famous and influential accounts of Druidic practice come from Julius Caesar in his personal memoirs, Commentari de Bello Gallico, The Gallic Wars. It is Caesar who gives us the most sensational details, particularly the lurid accounts of large-scale human sacrifice. He describes criminals and prisoners of war being burned alive in colossal effigies woven from wicker, the infamous Wicker Man.
The Wicker Man.
Don't get me started on the
Yo,
fucking Wicker Man.
yo,
Oh
yo,
my God.
yo. Why haven't we watched The Wicker Man for movie
I
night?
hate
This is
that.
the question.
Freaking
Why
movie.
haven't we watched
No.
Wicker Man for movie night? The Wicker, that would be a great fucking Halloween movie. Are you serious?
I hate that movie so much. I hate both of them. Although I am
Why?
considering watching Nicolas Cage version because it looks hilarious. Because
No,
it
the
makes
Nicolas Cage versions are inferior to the original version, as is mostly the case.
I thought it was really cool. And the thing is a lot of the pagan community I was in was so excited for the Wicker Man. Oh, you gotta watch it, because it came out in the 70s or some shit, early 80s, whatever. and it celebrates paganism. It's finally showing the truth of paganism. I'm like, all right, let's watch. So I sat down with a friend of mine, and I just was like, it makes us all look fucking insane. Yeah. Tell me I'm wrong. It makes pagans look unhinged, absolutely devious, murderous, nothing to do with nature. It's all about sex and killing people, and then of course they threw in some folk magic and stuff, which is fine, but it doesn't legitimize any of it. It just infuriated me.
See, I appreciate the torture porn aspect of it with the giant fire at the end. That's my favorite part, because I love movies that just cross a line or several lines. And so that was I fucking love The Wicker Man. I will die on this hill. The original Wicker Man is a great movie. The remake sucked.
No.
Okay? Well, it didn't suck. It wasn't like the worst remake that's ever been done, but compared to the original, there is no comparison. Like 70s horror movies are the best. Like 70s horror movies have just like that creepy vibe. Yeah. They've got like this cool look about them, and like you don't even know any of the actors, and it's just like they didn't have like I feel like horror movies have gone significantly downhill since the 70s.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I know that there are cultures that were violent and cultures that were bloody and cultures that did practice human sacrifice, some out of pure necessity, some out of this is how we take care of prisoners of war. There is a whole globe of society that happened way before Christianity started taking things over, and even the Christians crucified. They did all the torture, the witch fire, the witch burnings and drownings and hangings, and every religion is violent. I get it. But it is not, I contend that it is not so much the rule. But I do admit that desperate people do desperate things in desperate times. But I don't think that, it's just paganism in itself, and, argue with me if you want to, whoever, but now it is not that. And I don't think our culture was revolved around violence. Did it revolve around certain kinds of blood? Yes. And it wasn't killing all the time. Sometimes it was menstrual blood. Sometimes it was the blood that you get during births. It's all different kinds of blood that would come out from women that was very, very prized, valuable, and treasured. That was used for all kinds of crop rituals and things. I may be going off on a tangent here, but I don't think that this was, I don't know. I've looked into the Wicker Man a little bit. Is it real? Is it not? Just because they found somebody who did it doesn't mean all the pagans across all of Europe and Asia and Southern Europe did this. There may have been a tribe that did this, but I don't know. Even the Vikings, they were pretty violent, but they were mostly peaceful. Most pagans want to be peaceful and live in harmony.
Vikings were not mostly peaceful
in their villages. I'm talking about daily life. I'm not talking about when they would go off and pillage. I'm talking about daily life. Everybody just wanted to live in harmony, do their farms, and then when that went scarce, they went raging across and killed and said, do I agree with that? No, but that's what they did. That was their way. And they weren't the only ones. So did the people in Asia. Everybody did it. That doesn't make it right.
Oh man, mostly peaceful Vikings. I love it. Yeah. So George Soros didn't create Halloween. No, it's George Soros did not create Halloween.
No,
doesn't fund Halloween either.
No. And there's lots of origins to it. It's not just the Celts. It's not. Every culture, every pagan and ancient culture had something around this time of year because it was such a momentous time of year. If you lived in a climate where the seasons changed so dramatically and you weren't able to grow food anymore.
Man,
just saying. I hate that movie. Don't even get me started. Ooh.
It's a great movie. I'm watching it for my birthday movie month, and you can't stop me.
You go right ahead.
Okay.
Oh, you're gonna make me do trivia on it, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. Yep. And it's my birthday month, so you can't say no.
I'm gonna ask Mac B to host. I'm gonna ask him to fill in.
I win again.
Oh, fuck you so much.
You must first understand their purpose. Caesar's writings functioned as tools of political propaganda, designed to justify his brutal and expensive military campaigns to the Senate back in Rome. By painting the spiritual leaders of the Gauls as barbaric, bloodthirsty savages who presided over horrific rituals, he framed his war of conquest as a necessary act of civilization. His work is a political document, not an unbiased anthropological report. Other Roman writers, such as the historian Tacitus and the naturalist Pliny the Elder, also recorded their observations of druidic practices, from rituals in sacred oak groves to what they also described as human sacrifice. While their motives may have been less directly political than Caesar's, they still wrote from the perspective of an imperial power, viewing Celtic culture through a lens of inherent Roman superiority. They were outsiders, interpreting complex rituals without access to the internal beliefs that gave them meaning. Therefore, a core principle of any intellectually honest investigation into Halloween's origins is a deep and abiding skepticism of these Roman sources. They provide a tantalizing, yet fundamentally hostile and distorted glimpse of what Celtic rituals may have looked like.
Thank you, distorted.
They offer a view through a dark and clouded lens, showing us a caricature of Celtic practice while revealing very little of Celtic belief. To find that, we must look elsewhere. The key to unlocking the Celtic worldview lies in a striking historical irony. The most valuable sources for pre-Christian belief were written down centuries later by the very Christian monks whose faith had supplanted the old ways. Far from their homelands, in monasteries across Ireland and Britain, these scribes began a monumental project to record the great epic stories and mythologies of their ancestors before they were lost to time. These monks were the inheritors of a long and vivid oral tradition. They wrote down the sagas, the king lists, and the mythological cycles that had been passed down for generations by trained poets and storytellers. Compilations like the Lómhor Gabhla Éireann or the Book of the Taking of Ireland sought to create a comprehensive history of the Irish people, stretching back to the dawn of time, weaving together myth and memory into a grand national epic. The most essential of these works for understanding the heroic mindset is the Ulster Cycle, a collection of sagas set in the 1st century. Its stories revolve around the great hero, Cú Chulainn, a demigod of superhuman strength and terrifying rage. These tales are our single most important window into the worldview of the people who celebrated Samhain. They are saturated with a belief in the supernatural, the power of prophecy, and the constant, violent intersection of the human world and the other world. To make these pagan tales acceptable in a Christian context, the monks employed a clever intellectual device known as euhemerization. This was the process of demoting the old gods from deities into formidable mortal kings, queens, and mages from a distant, legendary past. The great pantheon of the Celts, the Tuatha De Danann, were reimagined as a magical race of heroes who, after being defeated in a great battle, retreated into the hollow hills and burial mounds, becoming the supernatural beings known as the Is She. These medieval texts are, of course, mythology, not history. They are filled with magic, monsters, and impossible deeds, and they are all filtered through the worldview of the Christian scribes who recorded them. But their value is considerable.
Hang on. I cannot emphasize this enough. No proselytization in Christianity. If you don't want to be here, you don't have to be here. But we are not interested in the Christian perspective tonight. With all due respect.
There's that one night with just one day a year to win spout. What are they talking about?
I have no idea. It's a Christian being a Christian in the chat. I have no idea what they're talking about. I just don't want it to start a domino effect of other Christians doing stuff in the chat.
Yeah, I don't want to see any crisis kings. This is our night, people.
No, this is our night. You can go.
And also for us, this is a very sacred time of year, at least for me. It's a very sacred time of year. So I'd rather not get made fun of, if that's okay with you.
Don't make it. It is not always about you, Christians. Okay, it's not. The world does not fucking revolve around you.
They preserve the authentic psychological and spiritual landscape of the pre-Christian Celts. They show us the logic of their world, the nature of their gods, and the specifics of what they feared in the dark. These two sets of sources, Roman and Irish, provide the complete foundation for our investigation. The Romans give us a flawed, external glimpse of Celtic ritual, while the Irish sagas provide a rich, internal tapestry of Celtic belief. With this historical framework established, we can now turn to the Night of Samhain itself, to unmask the rites and fears that gave birth
you're going to
to
answer
the
the
world's
religion
most
question, aren't you?
misunderstood.
Yeah. It's a valid question. I'll let Karlyn answer for herself. Go ahead.
I call myself a generalized spiritualist. I do not ascribe to any specific religion. I think religion is about controlling people. I have had many different teachers of different spiritual beliefs and traditions all over the world for years. And so I have a very distinct way that I view the world. I know what I believe, but it comes from a lot of different sources. But many of those sources happen to be really in agreement with each other. Anyway, that's what I call myself.
Yeah, I went from being in a cult Christian church to becoming a Christian. Well, I called myself a cosmic Christian, which is entering spirituality into Christianity without going to church. And then I let go of Jesus and I became a pagan. I have not committed to any path. I am not a Wiccan. Paganism and Wiccan is part of paganism, but paganism is not Wiccan. So everyone's like, oh, is this Wiccan? No, it is. I am not a Wiccan. I have studied Wicca. I think Wiccans are lovely people, but I just didn't want to commit to another religious path. I consider myself a garden variety witch. I am a high priestess of the solo path. I have run covens in the past and several ceremonies because I find the wheel of the year to live in harmony with it, to be very, very peaceful and harmonious, but also, Zodiac Tarot. I'm very higher spirituality based as well. So it's not just paganism is very earthbound, and I like to kind of transcend that and go. I'm sort of an omniist, I guess, is one of the term I've heard that I like the most. We take the truth. Yeah, you take the truth from whatever source you find that agrees, and you take those things and you say, okay, this might be a Taoist belief, but it makes sense and also coincides with this, say, Celtic spirituality, and you can find the places where it puts the picture together with different belief systems. I think every system is a piece of the truth. No system has the whole truth. So, but that's where I'm at. And I say pagan because it's just the easiest thing to say, but honestly, I'm more of an omniist spiritualist.
Yeah. So we both believe in a higher being of some sort, but it's not in the same way that Christians think about it. It is a completely different kind of belief system. So we are not atheists. I guess this is what I'm saying. There's no atheism on this channel. Well, I guess you can be an atheist, but we are not atheists.
You're more than welcome to believe whatever you want. Just don't try and come over here and knock on my door, okay?
Yep.
Good holiday.
Jedi.
The rites of Samhain began with a symbolic act of surrender.
Except without the...
As dusk fell on the final day of the year, every fire in every home within the community was deliberately extinguished. The hearth, the center of domestic life, warmth and safety, was allowed to grow cold and dark. This act plunged the entire settlement into a deep and unsettling blackness, a willing submission to the encroaching energies of the dark half of the year. This communal darkness was a necessary precondition for the first and most central ritual of the night. In a sacred space, the Druids would construct two enormous bonfires. These were built with immense care, often using the wood of specific sacred trees, such as the oak. The construction of these great pyres was itself a solemn rite, creating the focal point around which the entire community's anxieties and hopes for the coming year would revolve. Once night had fully fallen, the new fire was kindled, not with the embers of a domestic flame, but through a sacred act of friction, a need fire. The Druids would rapidly turn a wooden spindle in a dry socket on a plank of oak, a laborious process that eventually produced a single, pure spark. This spark, born of sacred wood and priestly effort, was used to ignite the great bonfires, which would erupt in a column of flame and roar into the oppressive darkness.
The oppressive darkness.
Which it was, because we didn't have
These sacred
streetlights back then.
fires served multiple, overlapping functions. Their first purpose was purification. The community, along with their livestock, would pass between the two great fires. They believed this act would cleanse them of sickness and protect them from malevolent influence in the coming year, burning away the spiritual residue of the old year before entering the new. The second function was a form of sympathetic magic. In a world where the sun was visibly weakening with each passing day, the great bonfires were a defiant...
Oh, yeah. Animals absolutely recognize energy. Never, like, if a dog doesn't like someone, I, like, do not like that person, because dogs can recognize immediately the energy about a person and whether or not they're trustworthy.
Oh, absolutely. I agree completely. So tell me, Karlyn, what is your hypothesis on why they would seek protection rituals during this time of year?
I don't know.
Well, think about it.
I guess I would I'm not going to have an answer off the top of my head. I don't know. I don't know. What do you think?
It's getting dark. And coming from our primitive instincts are afraid of the dark. We needed fire to protect us from predators and all that kind of thing. And having big heat, big fire is gonna lots of big magic protection, but also the purification. Fire cleanses, and when you're dealing with that fear of darkness, and this is when things go bump in the night, you can't see what it is because there's no daylight, and so it's just that much scarier. I mean, a lot of us have gone camping. Have you gone camping and it's dark in the forest? And it's just like all of a sudden you're like Blair Witch style freaking alert, boom, because it's a lot scarier. And it's the same forest that was there in the daytime, but it's terrifying now. And so at this time they thought, this is, maybe their brains went, this is when we can become corrupted. This is when evil spirits and evil things have more time to play because the nights are longer.
Oh.
And we really have to take care of our protection. We have to do our energetical protection and of our animals too, because if you didn't have your animals, you could die, So think about it in terms of that.
It's so funny how, like, when we think about like times of yore, like things that things can be explained very easily why they happen the way they did. Like one of the most compelling, this is a slight, I feel like this is related to what you just said, but it's like tangential. So one of the most effective arguments I ever heard when I was listening to the Christian question spaces, which is basically they were trying to like pull apart like, Christianity being a Jewish myth or whatever. But it's like one of the things they described is, okay, why did Christianity, like, why were people so quick to buy into Christianity throughout Europe? Well, if you think back to that time period, they couldn't read. So they were having the Bible interpreted to them through these people in these magnificent buildings with beautiful music, with smoke, with these people wearing these ornate robes. And so for people at that time period, just because like they didn't know what was actually in the Bible, they couldn't do like compare and contrast and all that stuff. They had this mystical experience created for them by these people that were pushing this religion. And they may have really believed what they were saying. I'm sure they did. But it's like you can kind of get a sense of like, oh, that's why Christianity spread. Oh, okay, I got it. Yep.
Yeah, I studied churches, ancient churches and Gothic and all like in European art, because I love art history is one of my favorite things. And I had the chance to visit Notre Dame and Chartres and l'Église the Église is something else. Anyway, but it's there's walking in was meant to bring you into the presence of God by raising your eyes up to all these beautiful lit windows. And it's like being in heaven. And this is your reward, you sweet little, sinners, and come to me and give me your money. But back when Christianity started, they didn't have any of that stuff. It had to be told around campfires or in homes or, whatever. So they had to make it wondrous. They had to make it really your soul will be saved, and you don't have to go give your money to this temple and that temple and this temple and that temple. Now you just give your faith to Jesus, and he'll save you, and you can have a personal relationship with him. And then the Catholics took it and ran and went, oh yeah, we're gonna referee this. And it depends on all the different sects. But yeah, I mean, the evolution of Christianity is fascinating. And for those that just needed a safe harbor, it's like any other cult. Oh, come with us. We love you. We'll show you the truth of God. And oh, okay. Yeah.
Yep. Nerd2 asks us, what is your favorite Halloween movie?
Oh.
What do you think?
That's a good question. Halloween movie or horror movie? I guess Halloween themed specifically.
I think you could go either way with it, honestly.
Golly. Like Trick or Treat was really good. I don't know if I have a favorite. There's so many that I like.
I'm gonna go with the original Halloween movie. The original Halloween, you cannot top the soundtrack to the original Halloween movie. You can't top the ambiance. Like, it was just like a cool, so that's my answer. Original Halloween movie. And I mean, the Rob Zombie one is fantastic too.
I liked that one.
An amazing fucking horror movie maker.
Yeah, he is. He really is. I don't know what happened with him and the Munsters. That's unfortunate.
We all make mistakes. All right.
I think if I really am in the mood for just some silly spookiness, Addams Family all the way. Which we're going to be doing for movie night this coming Sunday. Both movies. Double feature.
Right. Pumpkinhead. Oh, I forgot about Pumpkinhead.
That's so awful.
Oh, man. Fucking Pumpkinhead.
Human response. They were a blazing beacon of heat and light, a gesture intended to encourage the sun, to give it strength and persuade it not to vanish completely into the darkness of winter. It was a ritual of cosmic support, a human attempt to help keep the great wheel of the universe turning. Finally, once the primary rituals of the night were complete, the fires served a vital communal purpose. Each family in the settlement would be given a burning torch or a glowing ember lit from the sacred bonfire. They would carry this new, purified flame back to their own homes and use it to relight their cold hearths. This act symbolized the renewal of the community and the carrying of its collective strength and spiritual protection into each individual home to last through the long, dark winter ahead. The relit hearth provided a shield of sacred protection against the chaos outside, but it could not guard against the anxieties that lurked within. With the community secured, the focus of the people turned inward, to their own personal destinies. The belief that the veil to the other world was thin at Samhain created a unique opportunity. It was a night when the future was believed to be uniquely visible, a time when mortals could scry for answers in the great, unknowable darkness of the coming year. This practice of divination served a key psychological purpose. For a people whose lives were governed by the unpredictable forces of nature, the future was a source of constant stress. Divination offered a measure of control.
Hang on. Go ahead.
This is an example of one of the reasons the churches sought to control these people, because they were very independently minded. These are not priestesses. These are normal people doing magic, doing sympathetic magic, doing medicinal, even just whatever. We might call it manifesting now. Spell work is largely manifestation magic. And that kind of thing. And everybody in the community was raised with knowing that this is what you did, just as much as every American right now knows that you hang mistletoe, you have to kiss under it. It's like that. It's like that automatic. These people knew how to read, apple peelings, tea leaves, the kinds of signs in the weather, how birds behave. Like they call it superstition now, but for them, it was a way of reading nature and reading the energies around them. They had high priests and high priestesses, but they didn't just go to them because they were completely clueless and had no idea. They were just rolling around in the dirt with no idea how to live. And tell me what to do. And so it was, I think, the Christian church that came in that turned them into that. that took their knowledge, their sacred knowledge, and their ability to care for themselves and have responsibility for their paths away, because they went, no, we'll take care of you. It's fine.
Mhm.
And yeah, so anyway, just saying.
What I think is like one of the great things that like Christianity has robbed people of is like that just like like being able to go inside yourself and not having to look outside of yourself for answers or resources or guidance or any of those things.
Well, we
It's
are
the
attached
softness
to,
of our innate being.
exactly. We are attached to that which is outside of us. And so all we have to do is go within to find that pathway, or that cord, if you will, to all the knowledge, the Akashic records, the whoever you want to speak with. But they didn't like you doing that's demonic. You're talking to demons. Everything is demons. Listen to your minister. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Way to impose a narrative onto the chaos. Fortunes were sought on the most elemental questions of life. Who would marry? Who would have children? Who would prosper? And, most urgently, who would survive the coming winter? Many of these divination rituals were connected to the harvest.
What did Mac ask? Hang on.
Is an apothecary considered magic? No, it was after the church took things over, but before it was called an apothecary, it was just an herbalist. And those people were the doctors of their time. They came up with, they knew the secret herbal remedies, things that we're rediscovering now, that you have to go pay $80 at a health store for 40 little capsules of, certain kinds of herbs that make you feel amazing and clear your, detox you and things like that, or make you feel better. Elderberry tablets, things like that. They knew all of that. They had the magic of healing, or the knowledge of healing. They also would do potions for manifestation magic. There were certain herbs that would enhance your sex drive, that could enhance your, they're all going to enhance your fertility, enhance all kinds of things. And some people thought, there were, what's the word I'm looking for? To put you in the mood, that kind of stuff. But there's more than that. People, I could make you a concoction right now and sprinkle it around your house for protection. There was an energetic, magical, if you will, tone to some of it, but most of it was just medicinal.
Fascinating. Thank you, MacB.
Using the fruits of the old year to predict the fortunes of the new. These practices are famously documented in the 1785 poem Halloween by the great Scottish poet Robert Burns, which provides a valuable historical record of these living folk traditions. Apples were a particularly resonant tool. A young woman might try to peel an apple in one continuous strand. If she succeeded, she would throw the peel over her shoulder, and the shape it formed was believed to be the initial of her future husband.
That's why they all name their sons
Nuts
with eyes.
Were also commonly used.
And S's.
A couple might place 2 nuts near the fire, naming one for each of them. If the nuts roasted quietly side by side, it signified a long and happy union. If they hissed, cracked, and jumped apart, it foretold a troubled and contentious future. These were simple, domestic rituals, but they carried considerable emotional weight, providing a framework for hope and a way to mentally prepare for hardship. While many forms of divination were personal and domestic.
I know I knew we would be like interrupting, or at least I knew I would be interrupting a lot for this one, so I'm glad we're doing it in 2 parts. Otherwise, we'd be here till next week. But so magic like that, people call it superstition. Can you maybe, why do you think that stuff might actually work? Why do they trust it so much? Why, if they put 2 nuts by a fire and one crackled and popped, they thought, oh, there's discord in this?
I don't know. Why? Because it makes sense.
Because, well, so you believe that our energy goes into things. Our energy surrounds us. It's like the force. It surrounds us. It binds us together. And it goes into things. So if you have something that you say, this represents me, you have energetically connected to it, even if it's a freaking nut. And then you put it by a fire and say, if it burns, then if it burns peacefully, then I am peaceful. If it crackles and sizzles, then I am not peaceful. And it could be your energy in there going, listen, you think you're fine, but you're not.
Oh.
And it's like tarot cards. Show me what I need to see. My connection is here. My God, remember, we have angelics, we have guides, we have ancestors that are all here to help us, and they're going to work with our energy to send us where the messages we need to see, wherever we're looking.
That makes sense.
So no matter, that's why I like to call myself a reader, not just a tarot reader, because I can read anything.
I get you, Jennifer. Everything has energy. Well, that's true. I mean, like everything, but like some things are easier to. I find that some things are easier to read than others. Some people are definitely easier to read than others.
Well, and if you're trained in runes and tarot and in tea leaves, then you understand the symbols or even the lines on your hand. I mean, but I do intuitive everything because I just love to give me the messages, show me what I need to say to this person. I don't want to hear the rules. I want to hear your message.
It's like tarot is like a tool, right? It allows you to like kind of make sense of the information, but it's not necessarily like the source of the information. This is what I kept trying to explain to people. Like the Groypers like kept accusing me of doing divination with tarot cards, and I was like, first of all, you're not doing divination with tarot cards. Tarot cards are a tool that allow you to like, get a snapshot of what the energy looks like right this second. We're not. I mean, I guess you could perform magic with tarot cards. People do tarot magic, but that's a different thing.
You use the energy of the representation. And I'm not saying if you go through every single meaning of every card, like our friend Joshua does, that is also correct. There's no wrong way to do it. It's just if you're the reader, you need to be able to be in communication the easiest way that you can be. And for some people, having all of that definition is the easiest way. And that's perfectly fine. The messages will come through exactly as they're meant to.
Yep.
So I don't want to poo-poo anybody either. But yeah, like throwing bones, all that that's one of the ways. I've had someone, they wanted a reading. I had no cards or anything on me. So I told them I can read anything. And they're like, well, show me. And so I said, I put a blank piece of paper down and I gave him a pen. I said, close your eyes. And when I say start to scribble. And so they just kind of drew. And then I said, stop. And he stopped and I looked at it and I gave him a reading. And he was like, how the fuck did you do that? I'm like, it is because I am in tune with your energy. If I just came up and started talking to you, you'd be like, you're crazy. But if I bring you into the involvement, let you open your energy to me, now we can communicate. It's not just me talking at you.
That makes actually a lot more sense. Okay, now I'm really actually picking up what you're putting down. Cool.
All right, cool. Right on. Yay.
The most solemn and consequential readings were left to the trained spiritual experts. The Druids would engage in more formal methods of prophecy. They interpreted the shapes and movements of the flames in the sacred bonfires, a practice known as pyromancy. They would study the patterns of bird flights or the entrails of sacrificed animals, all in an attempt to discern the fate of the entire community. These were not idle party games. They were a serious and indispensable part of the festival's function. In a world without science or certainty, divination provided guidance and a sense of agency.
Yeah.
The knowledge gained, whether hopeful or grim, allowed the community to face the bleak reality of summer's end with a sense of psychological preparedness. It was a way of arming oneself with knowledge, however mystical, for the long, hard fight against the encroaching dark. But what precisely was in that encroaching dark? This brings our investigation to a pivotal juncture.
Ronan, I see you. Go back and look up our DISENRAGE on ghosts.
And persistent modern idea about the festival. The belief that Samhain was, first and foremost, a festival of the dead.
Hang on. Again, you are allowed to have whatever feelings you want. You will not come into our chat on our night and shit on our beliefs. It's incredibly rude. It's incredibly inconsiderate. No one fucking cares.
Well, no, I think they're talking about the card readings of that channel, YouTube Live.
Oh, those cards. Okay, maybe I misread then. If I misread and I jumped in, I'm sorry. Okay, fine.
It's okay. You're a little raw. Karlyn's a little raw. She's been arguing with people for a while, so that's why we're here to go.
It's just annoying. It's like every week, and we're getting more people watching now. It's like every week we get people coming and being like, "That's bullshit. That's stupid." It's like, stop.
I think they're calling bullshit on that particular channel. That they're like, I had to convince them. And yeah.
I apologize. Then I wasn't paying attention. Fine.
If I'm wrong, then let me know, and I'll pummel you. But no, she says, yeah, okay, we're good. We're good too.
I didn't even put you in a timeout. Okay, relax.
While pervasive, is largely the product of a specific and highly influential Victorian-era academic. The idea was compellingly promoted by the Scottish anthropologist Sir James Fraser in his monumental work, The Golden Bough. First published in 1890, this book was a sweeping attempt to create a unified theory for all of human mythology and religion. Fraser positioned Samhain as a key example of a primitive cult of the dead, arguing it was a somber night when the souls of the year's deceased would return to their homes, and the living would set out food to placate their wandering spirits. This interpretation became incredibly popular and has shaped our understanding of Halloween for over a century. It is a romantic and resonant image. However, in the late 20th century, this view faced a substantial challenge from modern historians who returned to the primary sources. The most prominent of these voices is historian Ronald Hutton, whose 1996 study, The Stations of the Sun, performed a forensic re-examination of the evidence. Hutton's analysis is explicit. He argues that the medieval Irish sagas, our most reliable window into the pre-Christian worldview, provide no definitive evidence that Samhain was a major festival dedicated to the human dead.
What?
The texts are overwhelmingly concerned with the East-She, with prophecies, and with the seasonal change. Hutton suggests that while the festival certainly had supernatural overtones, its primary focus was pastoral.
a super chat in.
It was about
sorry about that.
Harvest.
I was trying to fix a knitting problem. I wasn't paying attention. I was listening. I just wasn't paying attention to the chat. Did you hear about the kidnapping at a Chicago school? It's okay. He woke up. The kidnapping.
Kidnapping.
Yeah. Thanks, Murphy Spool. Appreciate it. Thank you.
We need it every week. We get the dad joke. I love you, Murphy. You're amazing.
Napping. Breaking news.
Breaking. And the survival of the community through winter. Hutton concludes that the strong, explicit association with the souls of the dead was heavily
don't you fucking start too. What?
Why do men have holes at the ends of their penises?
Why?
So they can have an open mind. You're welcome.
So true. Thank you. Thanks. Appreciate it. Thanks. Excellent. Does anyone else have any jokes they want to tell? Well, keep them to yourself, okay?
And possibly introduced after the Christian church strategically placed its own holidays for the dead, All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day, on November 1st and 2nd. The folk traditions that Fraser interpreted as ancient pagan rites were, in many cases, the product of a much later Christianized Ireland. The church provided a new
Hang on, we got another super chat from Okpud's World. I've always loved Wiccans. My first girlfriend was Wiccan, and I love the culture holiday. It's all fascinating.
Nice.
I agree.
Very cool. I'm not a Wiccan, but I do enjoy them as well. Absolutely.
Theological reason for the season's focus on the deceased, and the older, vaguer supernatural fears of Samhain were reframed to fit this new Christian context. Unmasking Halloween requires us to unmask Samhain first. It was a night of immense complexity. It was the hinge of the year and the end of the harvest. It was a time of ritual purification by fire and anxious divination for the future. And it was a night of genuine supernatural peril, defined by the belief that the barrier to the other world had fallen, allowing its non-human residents to walk the earth. This authentic,
Kevin.
multi-layered reality
jokes are coming
is
out
far
now.
richer
Yeah,
and far
I'm ignoring the
stranger
jokes.
than any simple
I'm busy.
festival of the dead.
That's awesome.
The authentic terror of Samhain, the stranger truth, pointed to by the historical record, was not about the familiar spirits of the human dead. The thinning of the veil was a door swinging open, and through that door came the full-time, non-human residents of the other world.
Oh, I fucked up my knitting
According
from the
to
very
Irish
beginning.
mythology,
That's the
No.
problem.
portals
I
to this
fucked
other
up.
world were the
It's okay.
ancient burial
all right.
mounds that dotted the
You can
landscape,
fix.
the
I
hills
can
known
fix
as
it.
the
Yeah, I
She.
can.
These were the hollow hills where
Yes,
the
I
defeated
can.
gods, the Tuatha De Danann, had retreated, establishing their otherworldly kingdoms. On the night of Samhain, the She were believed to be always open, their hidden doorways becoming visible and active. They were less a graveyard and more an embassy from an alien and formidable neighboring dimension. The beings who emerged from these portals were the Is She, a name that simply means the people of the mounds. This term
That's a really
referred
cool
to the
image. I love
Tuatha De
that.
Danann in their new, diminished form, the former gods of Ireland now living as powerful and mysterious supernatural entities just beyond the veil of human sight. The great danger of Samhain was that the Is She were free to walk in the human world. They might pass through a settlement in a grand procession known as a fairy hosting.
A
And mortals who
fairy
witnessed it
hosting.
were at risk of being abducted.
Well, I think
They were known to sour the milk of livestock,
Danan are the ones
to
that,
blight
or
the
Danan
stored
are the ones
grain.
that, I think they're where all the elf lore comes from, and the leprechaun little people, fairies. That I think all of that has its origin in the gods that went underground, because they really, that Ireland and even in Scotland and a lot of, obviously England, but they have a lot of reverence for holes. Like if you see a fairy hole, like either avoid it or leave an offering. You know, even well springs, you leave a coin to pay the water spirit and those that live in there to like let you pass peacefully, or to so you can drink the sweet water without getting sick. Like there's all kinds of, I could be wrong. I've studied this a little bit, like just enough to get myself in trouble, but it feels like everything kind of comes back to these original Celtic gods and deities.
I never got real into like any of the stuff around fairies or things like that. Like I had friends that like, you know, would swear that they had fairies in their gardens and they built fairy houses for the gardens and like all that stuff. I was always kind of like, really though? Like really? Like it was always very confusing to me.
Yeah, Michael's got it. The Tuatha De Danann. And I knew that. I just, my brain's a little like rusty. So, but yeah, Lords of Tir na Nog and the Kingdoms of the Fae. Absolutely, yeah. And the Kingdoms of the Fae included, I think, all of those, the Fae, the fairies, the freaking brown. I don't know about the brownies. Are brownies considered Fae? They probably are. But all of that supernatural stuff came from, I think, these guys.
Cool.
And to lure travelers to their doom. The fear they inspired was the fear of the unpredictable and the overwhelmingly forceful. The Is She were forces of nature, like a thunderstorm or a flash flood. Their actions were a consequence of their essential being, not a judgment based on good or evil. The human response, therefore, was one of deep respect, ritual appeasement, and desperate self-preservation. It was this specific, foundational terror of the people of the mounds that would directly inspire the first Halloween costumes and the very first acts of what would, millennia later, become trick-or-treating.
Why would we want to dress up like spirits, Karlyn?
To blend in when they come into the world, so they don't haunt us or do anything bad to us or anything like that.
You got it.
Yeah, I got one.
You got it.
So I feel like Jennifer is just testing me at this point to see if I'm paying attention.
Well, it's just for anybody who's like, why does this happen? What is that? And we all have questions, which is good, but to really think about it, draw that logical conclusion, use your critical thinking skills, take if then if this, then what? And yeah, if they're around and you don't want them to like come haunt you, you better just look like them and they'll leave you alone. Just like people put blood on them to blend in with the zombies, you know.
Truly understand the visceral fear these people of the mounds inspired, and why their presence demanded such elaborate rituals of camouflage and appeasement, we must now delve deeper into their nature.
Ooh.
The beings known as the Ys-She, or the She in their anglicized form, were not simple spirits. They were the former gods of the land, and their character was as beautiful and as dangerous as the untamed natural world they embodied. The great mounds were thus seen as their palaces, their kingdoms in exile, existing in a dimension parallel to the human
Must be
world.
hard to be an exiled deity.
The popular imagination of later centuries would diminish these
What do you
beings,
even do?
transforming them into the small,
Go make an underground
winged,
society.
and often whimsical fairies of Victorian folklore. The authentic Ys-She of the Celtic world were something far more formidable. They were typically described as being of human stature or taller, possessing a timeless beauty and an aura of great power. They were accomplished warriors,
got a super chat,
masterful artisans.
From Maria Callis fan. I have had a bunch of Wiccans and pagans friends say that I had a shield around me and they won't say anything more. It freaks me out. What does that mean, Jennifer?
It means if she doesn't, either she's doing it from inside out and doesn't realize it, because sometimes our souls do things and our conscious mind is unaware, or someone has placed a shield around her and has not told her. So
that's not very nice.
It could have been out of love and protection, you know, could have been a grandmother or something like that, and they just wanted to protect the baby, and the baby is now protected for life, and people say you have a shield around you. It also could mean that the people, and I don't know anything about these people that you were talking to, because not all pagans and Wiccans are good, nice, healthy people. And sometimes they might see your light and go, ew, because this has happened to me several times. And there's just something about you. I thought I liked you, but now I just don't. There's just something about you that your force field is gross. And I'm like, my force field is meant to repel people that are gross. So you're gross. So it could be just your own innate energy repelling them too.
So it's exactly like internet haters is what you're saying. It's exactly like the people who call me all the names on the internet when in fact they're doing all the things that they're calling me the names of. And I'm just like, you know what? We are just not aligned. We are not aligned. We are not aligned in any way. And that's okay. And you can think I'm gross all you want, but I don't want you around me. So that's fine.
Well, and you might have an instinct in you that just goes shields up, wall, and they're like, ew, you have a shield around you. Or maybe they were giving you a compliment because they're like, oh, you've got natural protection. How lucky. I mean, I don't know in what the context was. I'm just giving multiple examples for anybody who is listening.
For anyone who might need to hear that.
True.
And potent magicians. The relationship between mortals and the Ys-She was complex, built on a foundation of deep and cautious respect. The Celts often referred to them obliquely, using euphemisms like the good neighbors or the fair folk. This was a linguistic defense mechanism, a way to avoid drawing their direct attention. To speak their name was to invoke their presence, and their presence was always a dangerous proposition. The core of this danger lay in their alien morality. The Ys-She were amoral beings. They did not operate on a human-centric axis of good and evil. They were governed by their own ancient and inscrutable codes of conduct, which often revolved around principles of reciprocity, respect for their sacred places, and a fierce resentment of insult. A mortal could be rewarded with incredible fortune for a simple act of kindness, or utterly destroyed for a slight they never even knew they had committed.
And this is like one of those things where like obviously all this stuff was created with AI, right? And so people might think this is easy, but no, like creating good illustrations with AI that are like topical and relevant to the thing being discussed, that's actually very hard.
It is.
And all this stuff looks great.
It's very beautiful.
They were, in essence, the human-like personification of the natural world. Beautiful, life-giving, and capable of sudden, inexplicable, and devastating violence. Their favor was a blessing.
We got another power chat from Owls Are Cool. I was on the Abrahamic plantation for many years, even after being atheist for a brief time. It's not just a religion, it's a mindset. It wasn't until I started learning about Native Americans it really helped me start learning about myself. I mean, that's actually a good point. And so what they're talking about is like the whole, again, going back to like the CQ question. The CQ question is really about like all Abrahamic religions. It's not just about Christianity. It's about Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. And so this whole idea of like, when you learn about the origin of these things, you learn more about yourself. I totally get that. Or you have to deprogram yourself from like learning all from the entire mentality that these religions put onto people. Like, and it's even if you don't practice them, like I have never been a Christian in my life, but even just like thinking about like how these myths were created, it's like, oh, that's why I think that. Oh, that's why I think that. Oh, I have to rethink that now too. Oh, great.
Yeah. Don't I know? Yeah. That's, you have to unlearn and deprogram. It is a programming. And even like atheists and the like find themselves catching into the saying things like God bless you after you sneeze, things like that are blessings, they are, and things, but it's just it is so ingrained in our culture. Yeah, I think I would love to visit like an Asian country. I'd love to visit Japan that isn't inundated with it and see how the vibe is, what the difference in the energy of the people are.
That would be I would love to go to Japan. I feel like I had a past life in Japan, definitely, because I've always been drawn to Japan. But like, so I actually got into this argument one time with this guy in the CQ spaces, and this guy hates me, and so he was going to argue with me about everything. He's like this cranky old man, but like I was talking with them one day about like energy and how all that worked, because actually, unironically, the neo-Nazis in the CQ spaces are actually very interested in energy and magic and astrology and like, I mean, to like
the real Nazis.
But that's exactly it. It's like they're actually like into this stuff. So we actually had great conversations with them. But this one guy was like, I don't believe in manifesting. You can't do that. And and you can't do this and you can't do that. And And I was like, well, yeah. Well, I mean, telling people all the things they can't do is a great way to convince them that they can't do those things. And isn't that kind of like the point of this entire thing,
Yeah. I mean, if you think you can't do it, you won't.
Can't. True. You can't. Yeah.
But their anger was a catastrophe. And on Samhain, the one night of the year when the doors to their kingdom were thrown open, navigating this perilous relationship became the single most urgent challenge for any mortal community. The challenge of navigating Samhain was a matter of life and death, because the open portals of the Sidhe allowed for a terrifying exchange between the two worlds. The most visceral fear associated with the Sidhe was the fear of abduction. Tales abounded of mortals, particularly young men and women of great beauty or skill, being lured or stolen away into the otherworld, never to be seen again. To be taken by the fair folk was a terrible fate. The otherworld was a timeless realm where a single night could last 100 years in the mortal world. A human who ate the food of the Sidhe would become trapped there forever. The stories of those who managed to escape often spoke of returning to a world where everyone they had ever known was long dead, their homes turned to dust. The fear of abduction was a fear of being erased from one's own life. The danger extended beyond the abduction of people. The Sidhe were also known to steal the substance or essence of mortal food and drink. They could blight the newly harvested grain in its storage huts,
Why you leave offerings?
ensuring a winter of famine. They could sour the milk of a household's prize cow or steal away a newborn calf. These were acts of supernatural theft that struck at the heart of a community's ability to survive.
Bum, bum, bum.
Dun, dun.
Samhain was a night when all travel was fraught with danger. The landscape, once familiar, became alien territory. A person walking home from a neighboring settlement might encounter a grand, fairy hosting, a procession of the Ys She on horseback, and be swept away into their ranks. A familiar path might suddenly lead to a strange part of the forest, where a great feast was taking place, an illusion designed to lure the unwary to their doom. The core psychological state of Samhain was therefore one of a siege. The community was under siege by an invisible, supernatural force that could strike anywhere, at anyone, at any time. The rituals of the night were the defensive measures, the spiritual and functional tools developed over generations to survive this annual incursion. It was this intense, palpable sense of peril that gave rise to two of the most enduring traditions that echo down to the modern day: the first Halloween costumes and the first offerings to the spirits. The first human response to the siege of Samhain was a strategy of deception. Faced with a night when formidable, non-human beings roamed the landscape, the most logical defense was to avoid being identified as a vulnerable mortal. This led to the practice of guising, the explicit and unambiguous ancestor of the modern Halloween costume.
Ooh.
Too bad these guys.
People would fashion costumes and masks from animal skins, hides, and even the skulls of sacrificed livestock. These were not the playful costumes of the modern era. They were designed to be terrifying, to obscure the human form, and to break the silhouette of a person. This practice, recorded in the folklore of Ireland and Scotland, served a dual, pragmatic purpose. The first purpose was camouflage. By wearing a grotesque mask and the hide of an animal, a person traveling outside on Samhain might be mistaken for a non-human entity by a wandering member of the Ys She. It was a form of supernatural camouflage.
Yup.
A way to hide in plain sight by appearing as something other.
Yup, you're right.
Something that was not a tempting mortal target.
And when you're
for
right,
abduction.
you're right.
Just if only the rest of the world could realize that I'm always right.
The second purpose
well, I don't know about always,
was a
but I
form
said
of
when you're right,
sympathetic
you're right.
magic. To dress as a spirit was to take on some of its power. The geyser could impersonate one of the malevolent entities themselves, effectively joining their procession to avoid being harmed by it. It was a strategy of proactive defense. If you cannot hide from the monsters, become one of them.
Mm-hmm.
This practice reveals a worldview where deception and imitation were valid spiritual weapons. The second great strategy for survival was appeasement. While guising offered a way to hide from the Ys She, a more direct approach was needed to protect the home itself. This led to the practice of leaving offerings, a ritual that functioned as a form of supernatural tribute, a tax paid to the forces that held the world in their grip for this one night. Households would leave out portions of their best food and drink, bowls of milk, pats of butter, or grains from the recent harvest. These would be placed on the doorstep or at the boundaries of the settlement. The logic was functional. By offering a share of their substance willingly, they hoped to persuade the wandering spirits to pass by their home peacefully, leaving the family and the rest of their winter stores untouched. This was a transaction rooted in the core principles of reciprocity that governed the relationship with the Ys She. The offering was an evident signal to these beings that the household respected their power. It was a bribe offered in good faith, with the hope that it would be accepted and the household would be spared from supernatural harm.
Supernatural bribe.
These
Like
twin
spiritual
practices
mafia.
of guising and
Yeah,
offering represent the
spiritual
foundational
mafia.
DNA of the modern Halloween exchange. The core elements are now in place: costumed figures representing the chaotic spirits of the night, approaching a household that provides a food offering to ensure peace. These ancient, transactional rituals, born from a genuine and visceral fear, would lie dormant for centuries, their structure preserved in folk memory. waiting to be reassembled in a new world for an entirely new purpose. This entire system of belief and response marks the first stage in the holiday's long history of fear. This was the ancient fear, a terror of the supernatural and the non-human. The primary threat was the Is-She, formidable, amoral, and alien beings from another dimension who could abduct mortals and blight property. The human response was ritual negotiation and camouflage, a desperate attempt to survive a temporary intersection with a hostile, enchanted world. This world of primal fear and folk ritual would define life in the Celtic lands for centuries. But a new force was rising across the continent, an empire of faith with a radically different vision of the supernatural and a brilliant strategy for expansion. The arrival of Christianity in places like Ireland and Britain presented the church with its greatest challenge: how to convert a populace whose spiritual world was already so richly and so fiercely populated. The strategy that proved most effective was a process known as syncretism. This was a pragmatic and remarkably patient policy of cultural absorption.
We'll take your beliefs and make them our own and tell you, yes, we believe the same thing, but the right way.
Tied to the seasons and the land itself could not simply be eradicated by force. A belief held for 1,000 years will not die by decree.
You think?
So instead of destroying, the church chose to co-opt. The core of the strategy was to consciously map Christian meanings and holidays onto existing pagan ones. This process eased the transition for new converts, allowing them to continue their ancient practices, but now within a new Christian framework. This policy was explicitly articulated by figures like Pope Gregory the Great,
stolen valor.
who, in a famous letter from the year 601, advised his missionaries in Britain to purify the pagan temples with holy water.
I love when
and
during
convert
Easter
them into
they're like, well, what do
churches,
eggs
rather than
and bunnies have to do with Jesus? And I'm like, it doesn't.
Nothing.
There's a reason they're there, though. You little cuties are still enacting old pagan rituals, you darlings.
Yeah, you like bless your hearts
with love.
Bless your hearts, Christians.
tearing them down. He argued that a people familiar with a sacred place would be more willing to worship there, even if the object of their worship had changed. This was the approach that would be applied to the entire Celtic ritual year. The church, in essence, draped its own vestments over the skeleton of the old pagan calendar. It provided new saints for old gods, new theological justifications for ancient fears, and new holidays for ancient festivals. This was the beginning of the Great Merger, the moment a consequential new stream of influence began to flow into the river of tradition.
Hang on.
I do not think that all pagans are into Easter bunnies.
Christians. You think all Christians?
Sorry, I meant Christians. Sorry, I said pagans.
I know.
The ones that are, and I believe I qualified that, make me laugh.
Mm-hmm.
And they're almost furries. It's adorable.
Christian feelings in the chat right now.
Uh-oh, it's okay.
Uh-oh, it's okay. Christians,
we're here for you. We're here for you.
That would eventually become Halloween. Before the main Christian effort began in earnest, another culture had already spent centuries interacting with the Celtic world. The Roman Empire, during its long occupation of Britain, brought its own rich calendar of festivals. While direct influence on Samhain is difficult to prove, some Roman traditions show fascinating thematic parallels that may have contributed a subtle current to the braided river of influences. The most compelling of these parallels revolves around Pomona, the Roman goddess of fruit, trees, and the harvest. Her sacred symbol was the apple, and her festival, celebrated in the autumn, was a time of thanks for the abundance of the land. Centuries later, the apple would become a central tool in the folk divination games of Britain and Ireland, leading some historians to speculate that the Roman presence may have reinforced or blended with native customs. This possible connection, while not definitive, is a perfect example of the complexities of the braided river. It shows how two different cultures can have similar, resonant traditions that may brush against each other, creating a richer folkloric stream. This potential Roman echo represents the first non-Celtic tributary to join the great river of tradition that was slowly taking shape. The influence remained subtle because Roman culture was largely confined to the cities and military garrisons of the empire. It was an imperial overlay, a veneer of classical order on a deep and resilient native culture that continued to thrive in the rural heartlands. The Roman stream flowed into the Celtic River, but it was not strong enough to change its fundamental course or character. This first merger, however, established an essential precedent. It demonstrated that the tradition of Samhain could absorb outside influences and adapt. It was a living tradition, not a static relic. This capacity for change would soon be tested by a new force, a stream of influence so vast and so commanding that it would fundamentally and forever reshape its banks, its current, and its very name. The age of Christian syncretism had arrived. The age of Christian syncretism began in the very heart of the old Roman world. The story of the Church's great feast for the dead starts not with Samhain, but with a different and far more famous pagan temple. It begins with the Pantheon in Rome, one of the best preserved architectural marvels of the ancient empire. For centuries, the Pantheon had been a temple dedicated to all the gods of the Roman state. Its spectacular domed roof and its grand oculus, open to the heavens, had overseen countless pagan rituals. By the early 7th century, however, the Roman Empire was Christian. The old gods were gone, and their temples stood empty, repurposed, or fell into ruin.
Bless you.
In the year 609, Pope Boniface IV received permission from the Byzantine Emperor Phocas to take control of the ancient building.
Byzantine.
In a hugely symbolic act,
I think my knitting instructions are missing a piece because I'm supposed to not have more stitches on my needle than I have, Jennifer. It's very upsetting. And I don't think Go ahead.
Well, you better maybe re-Google them. Where did you get them?
It's a mystery knit along, but it's like I think the instructions are not done correctly. I think they made a mistake in the instructions. I think they're missing a piece, like a yarn over or something like that.
Because you tried to start over and it's still not working out right.
It's still not working. Well, I mean, I fixed the original problem, but now there's a whole new problem in that I don't have the amount of stitches I should have, and so.
This is not
I don't know. It's not okay, man. It's not okay to fuck up knitting patterns. And it makes sense that it maybe just be a mistake in like the printed pattern. Because if you leave out like one thing, it's gonna fuck up the whole thing.
Oh, for sure.
That
I'm on my last row of my second place mat.
Oh, looks nice.
I love this yarn.
It's really pretty yarn.
It is.
We got a $10 super chat from Prita. Sorry, I meant to super chat this before. They used to call those who practice white magic, healing protection, a white witch. Is there a name for one who practices black harm and curses and stuff like that, or not really? Shouldn't practice black magic.
Let us define. First of all, we need to understand there is no such thing as white magic or black magic. All magic is gray. It is the practitioner that makes it light or dark. So the practitioner's intention. For example, I can do a love spell.
Don't do that.
Don't do it. But it's an easy example.
Never.
Yeah. So yes, magic is magic. You got it. So if I want to do a love spell, and this is an easy example because I am looking for something for me to bring into my life. I am manifesting a partner. And that's harmless, that's light. Or a friend of mine has said, hey, I'm lonely. Would you please help me with my energy? Do this spell. And I would do the spell. And it would be a white magic spell. Now, if someone says, I want that person and they will be mine. Therefore, I'm going to do a love spell to draw them to me. That is black magic because it is for no good but your own. That's the whole definition of black magic, is it benefits no one but the magic user. It is all about them. Or they want to break up a relationship, like things like that. This is all because you think you are in control of everybody else and you want to be in control of everybody else. So you do harm. And doing harm equals doing things without someone else's consent or permission to do them. I never do spells unless asked. I never give spells unless I feel like it is morally good for the person who needs it. I don't just go, oh yeah, here, let me give you a love potion. I don't know what you're going to use it on or who you're going to use it on. If you want something to enhance your marriage, go to a counselor. Do some love magic, learn how to suck his dick properly, work it out. There is more to it than potions, although they can help, but they are supplemental to what it's all about giving yourself power to create goodness in your own life with the people around you. It's not about to change them.
Properly, Jennifer.
What did I do? What happened?
No, it's like, I just think it's funny that you busted out with learn to suck his dick properly. Okay.
Yes. You'd be surprised how many women don't know how to do it well. And the men are like, thanks. And that goes the other way around too. Boys.
It does.
Gentlemen.
You have to take advice and feedback on how to do the thing. Okay.
Look, if you want to have a good relationship with someone, you need to have a sexual bond. However, whatever that means for you, you've got to have that bond. It is the most powerful bond between people. So I'm just saying, no teeth, please.
Some people like teeth. Not too much, just a teeny thing.
So white witches and black witches they are called white witches and black witches. There's also green witches. I am a green witch, white witch, which means green is earth energy, white is positive, loving energy, black is selfish and detrimental. But it is an easy way. It is an easy way to communicate the intention of the user, not the magic. Just so you know.
I figured out the mistake I made and it was my fault. I fucked up my own knitting.
Penis mentioned.
Yeah, I see. I know. It's, okay. Okay, so this one was asking who was a Scorpio in the chat earlier, and I think we can now be like, no one is surprised that you're a Scorpio, bro. I'm just gonna say that. No one is surprised you're a Scorpio.
Me and my huge dick.
Probably really good in bed though, if we're being honest. Scorpios are fucking great in bed.
They are. No joke.
Yeah.
No joke. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Pope formally reconsecrated the Pantheon, dedicating it
we
as
fucking
a Christian
warned
church
you earlier,
in honor
okay?
of the Virgin Mary
Don't no complaining.
And all Christian martyrs. This was a commanding statement. A temple once dedicated to all pagan gods was now a church dedicated to all Christian saints. To mark this momentous occasion, the Pope established a new annual feast day to commemorate the consecration and honor all the saints who now had a home in the former pagan temple. He set the date for this celebration as May 13th. For over a century, this was the established date for the Feast of All Saints in Rome. This initial placement in the spring is a vital detail. It shows that the Church's first impulse for a collective feast of saints had no connection to the autumnal anxieties or the supernatural timing of the Celtic Samhain. It was a celebration of Christian triumph, linked to the purification of a specific and symbolic building in the center of the Christian world. The collision course with the old Celtic festival would be set by a later pope, for reasons that were deeply rooted in the strategy of syncretism. That collision course was set over a century later by another pontiff, Pope Gregory III. During his papacy in the mid-8th century, he dedicated a new oratory, or chapel, within St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. He dedicated this new chapel, just as the Pantheon had been, to all the saints and martyrs of the Christian faith. The Pope then decreed that the anniversary of this dedication would be celebrated annually, and he set its date as November 1st, establishing this new autumnal date for the feast within the city of Rome.
I will be right
For
back.
nearly a
Little goddess
century,
root calling.
this November 1st
right.
date was primarily a local Roman observance, while most of Christendom continued to celebrate the feast in May. The true masterstroke of syncretic strategy would come later. In the year 835, Pope Gregory IV, at the urging of the powerful Frankish Emperor Louis the Pious,
Frankists
extended the November 1st feast to the entire Frankish Empire.
Oh no, not the Frankists.
This act officially transferred the Feast of All Saints to November 1st for the vast majority of Western Christendom. The decision was a brilliant piece of statecraft and religious policy. By the 9th century, missionaries were still struggling to stamp out the tenacious, pre-Christian festivals that took place around the beginning of November. These were the Nights of Samhain and its Germanic equivalents, nights deeply associated with the harvest and supernatural forces. The universal decree from Pope Gregory IV placed a major Christian feast, backed by the full authority of the empire, directly onto this potent date. It did not seek to abolish the ancient festival. Instead, it offered a commanding Christian alternative, a holy day that absorbed the existing themes of the season and reframed them in a Christian context. The local populations could continue to gather and celebrate, but now the spirits they were instructed to honor were the holy saints and martyrs of the church. This century-long, two-step process was an act of masterful theological redirection, one that would forever link the Christian calendar to the ancient rhythm of the Celtic wheel.
Some things you just can't beat, so you join.
Yeah.
The establishment of All Saints' Day on November 1st successfully absorbed the season's focus on the spirit world, but it addressed only one class of spirit, the perfected souls of the saints in heaven. This left a central question unanswered for the average medieval Christian.
Oh, John wants
What
to know
was
what
the
you thought of
fate
his
of their
fanfic.
own deceased family members?
I thought it was great.
The ordinary, imperfect.
I thought the fanfic was awesome. Obviously, you always do such a great job, John, and I think like it's definitely an improvement over the first fanfic, much more detail oriented, many more inside jokes, and I thought it was very enjoyable.
It was fabulous.
It was fabulous.
Souls who were good people, but were certainly not saints. The answer to this question was a theological innovation of considerable influence, the concept of purgatory.
Purgatory.
Developed and formalized during the High Middle Ages, purgatory was conceived as an intermediary state between earth and heaven.
Is
It was
that
a
mentioned
place
in the
where the
Bible?
souls of those who died in a state of grace, but had
Really?
not yet fully atoned
That makes
for their
sense, actually.
sins, would
Yeah.
undergo a period of temporal punishment and purification before they were worthy to enter heaven. This concept had a transformative impact on the living. It meant that the souls of the dead were not beyond reach. Their time in purgatory could be shortened by the actions of the faithful on earth.
Oh my
Prayers,
god.
acts of penance,
Oh.
and, most importantly, the saying of masses for the dead
Money.
were all
Money.
believed to speed a soul
Money,
on its
money,
journey
money,
to heaven.
money.
This created an active, ongoing relationship between the living and their deceased loved ones. To formalize this relationship, the Church instituted another major feast day, placed directly after the Feast for the Saints. In the late 10th century, the Abbot of Cluny, a commanding monastery in France, decreed that all monks under his authority should observe November 2nd as a day for offering special masses for all the faithful departed who were believed to be in purgatory. This practice spread rapidly throughout the Christian world. All Souls' Day, as it came to be known, was the final piece of the theological puzzle. The Church had now successfully bracketed the ancient date of Samhain. November 1st was for the perfected souls in heaven. November 2nd was for the suffering souls
What
in
did they
purgatory.
call October
The
31st
entire
back
season
then?
was now definitive.
It's now what they call October 30th, but back then October 31st was
What? I know it. I know I'm gonna know it
You
as
know
soon
it.
as I know it.
You know it, Devil's Night.
Fucking Devil's Night. I did know it from The Crow.
Yep. Devil's Night, but now it's the night before Halloween, so it's the 30th is Devil's Night. Halloween is the 31st, and then All Saints Day, I think, is the 1st. So then, yeah, however that goes. So many days.
And systematically reframed as a time to remember.
So, Jennifer, you'll appreciate this. Jennifer, I have a plan. Now, I am definitely not going to Portland on my travels to the West Coast. I'm absolutely not.
No, there's no reason to do that. That would be a really awful idea. No.
It's an awful idea. There's no.
You're going to Cancun because that's also in the
obviously.
West.
Yeah. I'm going somewhere sunny. I'm going to sit on a beach. I'm going to drink margaritas. I'm not going to do anything dangerous. I'm definitely not going to Portland. But if I did go to Portland, because now in Portland, what they're doing outside the immigration center is they're all wearing costumes.
I'm noticing that it has caught on.
Yeah.
I'm catching your streams almost every day, just at little bits as I can.
And so I think if I now like obviously again I'm not going to Portland, but if I were going to Portland, maybe what I would do is go find a Halloween store and get a really nice Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Everybody watch the streams for the Killer Clown.
I'm gonna do an evil clown costume.
Oh my god. Don't give yourself away, honey.
I used to buy a Killer Clown from Outer Space costume for fucking years. And now and I could use it as a tax write-off. This is how a tax write-off.
Absolutely.
If I was going to Portland, which I'm not doing.
I have had someone new to movie night request Killer Clowns, and I was like, oh no. It's apparently a big, everybody loves this movie. And I'm like, why? Because
it's one of the greatest movies of all time. Jennifer is very traumatized by Killer Clowns from Outer Space. She hates it. And I made her watch it a couple of years ago, and she's never let me live it down, even though it's one of the greatest movies of all time.
No, and now you're going to make me fucking go through The Wicker Man again.
Yep, I am going to make you go.
I changed my schedule to accommodate you for Saw on Sunday, and you bailed.
I watched like half of it. And then it was just like too much. I was so disappointed. I was mad. I was mad, Jennifer. I was mad. It was a circumstance. I fucking had to do it. But I wanted to watch Saw. I was deeply disappointed.
Okay.
I really was. I'm not even joking. I was watching on my phone. I was trying to listen and do both. And at some point, I was just like, this is not fucking working.
Yeah. No, I figured it wouldn't. I wasn't surprised. I'm like, she's not gonna laugh. Man. It's totally fine. I'm just never ever gonna change anything for you ever again.
Yeah, that's probably I lost my privileges. not my fault. There was a naked bike ride on Sunday during movie.
Several, and in fact, there was a glitch, and the screen froze on a naked bisexual. Like at one point, I was like, "That looks like
bisexual." You mean an intersect? They had both.
Yeah, I want to say because even my husband, we were watching.
Tranny is what you're looking at.
I'm sorry. Well, to me, bi means
bisexual tranny.
Wouldn't that make the most sense? I mean, really.
I was like, how the fuck do you identify a bisexual?
They go both ways, and they have both parts. All the parts. Never mind. Sorry, but it had a man noodle and women. Cupcakes, and it had all the things, and it froze right there. And my husband I said, "Is that a?" He's like, "There goes the tranny," and I'm like, "Oh no!" Oh bless. We all have a purpose. We all have a purpose with love.
Yeah, love. Yeah.
The Christian dead. The old fears of the she were being overwritten by the new theology of the soul.
It took him a while to do this too. It wasn't
with
a
the new Christian
overnight
feasts
thing.
of All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day firmly established on November 1st and 2nd, the final stage of the transformation was linguistic. The very name of the holiday that we use today is the final and most definitive piece of evidence for this Christian reframing. The name Halloween is unequivocally Christian in origin. The key to understanding this evolution lies in the language of medieval England. The Feast of All Saints' Day on November 1st was also known in Middle English as All Hallows' Day. The word hallow, from the Old English hallig, meant a holy person or saint. The tombs of saints were hallowed ground. Thus, All Hallows' Day was simply a more direct Germanic translation of the Latin Festum Omnium Sanctorum, the Feast of All Saints. In the Christian calendar, the most important holy days are often preceded by a vigil, a period of devotion and preparation on the evening before the feast itself. Christmas has Christmas Eve, and Easter has the Easter Vigil. All Hallows Day was no different. The evening before this great feast, the night of October 31st, was therefore known as All Hallows Eve. Over the centuries, as the English language evolved, this phrase began to be contracted in common speech. All Hallows Eve was shortened, particularly in the dialects of Scotland and the north of England. The V in Eve was dropped, and the word became Ean, a common poetic and dialectical term for evening. This gave rise to the common name All Hallows Ean. From there, the final contraction was almost inevitable. Through the natural slurring and smoothing of centuries of everyday use, All Hallows Ean was further compressed. The all was dropped, Hallows was shortened to Hallow, and Ean was attached directly to the end. The final result was the single, evocative word we know today, Halloween. The name is a linguistic fossil, an undeniable record of the Christian feast day that was designed to supplant the ancient rites of Samhain.
Honor as holy.
Oh.
Holy evening.
Holy evening.
That it is.
The new Christian framework of All Hallowtide successfully overwrote the official meaning of the season.
Yay.
But the
Sure.
deeply
I wasn't gonna
embedded
say it was
structures
you,
of the
'cause I
old
would never
folk
dare.
traditions
It was
proved
me.
too
Yeah.
resilient to simply disappear. The Church, in a brilliant act of theological substitution, co-opted the familiar ritual frameworks of the people, draining them of their pagan meaning and filling them with a new and potent Christian purpose. The ancient practice of leaving offerings underwent just such a transformation. The core of the new practice revolved around a special food, the soul cake. These were typically small, round, spiced cakes, often marked with the sign of a cross to signify their Christian purpose. On the days of All Hallowtide, these cakes were baked in large numbers by households with the means to do so, specifically to be given away as a pious act of charity. The recipients of these cakes were the soulers, who were initially the poor of the parish and, in later centuries, children. They would travel from door to door, singing a small song or saying a prayer and asking for a soul cake for mercy's sake. This was the central transaction, a ritual with ancient roots, but a brilliant new Christian logic. The theological engine driving this practice was the doctrine of purgatory. The soulers were not begging for themselves. They were performing a spiritual service. In exchange for receiving a soul cake, they would promise to pray for the souls of the household's deceased relatives. Each cake eaten was accompanied by a promise to say a prayer for a specific soul, or for all the Christian souls believed to be suffering in purgatory. This created a striking spiritual economy. The wealthy and middling classes, by
Karlyn, have
giving
you
away
ever
cakes,
watched
performed
The
an act of
Discovery of
charity
Witches?
that was
I think
believed
that's
to
what it's
please.
called.
No, what is that?
It's on Netflix. It's based on a series of books because they all are. It's a vampire who falls in love with a witch, and at some point they time travel and they go back to like medieval, someplace in America, I don't remember. And they actually show this where the people who are hungry, they beg for soul cakes and then they go to the church and pray after. And they actually showed this, and I was like, that's cool. I've never seen anybody exemplify it in film before. It was really neat. Yeah, I loved it. It was a great show too. I loved it. It got a little it was very interesting because I'm very oh yay, Mama G. Yeah. That I was the writing is strong and solid. The weird thing is that the character arc of the heroine, she went from being strong, interesting, vulnerable, learning, really good character to a Mary Sue. And I've never seen that done before. And I was like, oh, oh dear. By the end of the fourth season or whatever, I was like, I don't like her anymore. But I love the vampire, and his family is fab. Anyway, I'm rambling. It was really good. Highly recommend.
God. The poor, by receiving the cakes, received much needed sustenance, and both parties believed they were actively helping to shorten the torment of their loved ones in the afterlife. The custom is even mentioned by William Shakespeare in his play, The Two Gentlemen of Verona, showing its deep integration into the cultural fabric of the time. The church had masterfully taken the empty shell of an ancient, fear-based transaction and filled it with a new and powerful doctrine of Christian piety and hope for the dead. The structure of the offering persisted, but its soul was entirely new. The offering was not the only folk structure to be filled with new meaning. The ancient tradition of guising, wearing costumes and masks on the night of Samhain, also persisted by acquiring a commanding new Christian justification, one that spoke directly to the single greatest trauma of the medieval world. This new purpose was forged in the crucible of the Black Death. The Great Plague of the mid-14th century was an unprecedented catastrophe, a wave of sudden, inexplicable, and universal death that shattered social hierarchies and religious certainties. In the wake of this trauma, a new artistic and theological motif emerged across Europe: the danse macabre, or the dance of death. This was a stark allegory for a new reality. The danse macabre depicts skeletons representing death itself, leading people from every station of society, popes, kings, and peasants alike, in one final, inescapable procession to the grave. This was a direct psychological coping mechanism for a world where death had become the ultimate equalizer. The motif was a public memento mori, a constant, visible reminder of mortality in a society saturated with loss. This resonant folk belief provided a new and compelling reason for the old custom of wearing costumes. The village guisers were, in essence, creating a folk enactment of the danse macabre. By dressing as ghoulish or skeletal figures, they were no longer just hiding from the supernatural Ishi. They were now confronting a different and far more intimate terror: their own mortality. Over time, this practice began to merge with the door-to-door tradition of souling. In places like Scotland and Ireland, children and youths would go guising from house to house. Crucially, the expectation was that the guisers had to perform for their treat. They would recite a poem, sing a song, tell a joke,
Christmas
or perform
caroling.
a trick.
It does, doesn't it?
This performance-based exchange is a key feature
funny.
that distinguishes historical guising from the simpler demand of modern American trick-or-treating. This was a vital step in the holiday's evolution. It blended the transactional nature of souling with the costume tradition of guising, now infused with a new purpose born from the trauma of the plague and the theology of the danse macabre. The ancient disguise, once a shield against alien spirits, had become a public performance of mortality. This new, performance-based custom created the complete toolkit of folk practices: a costume, a performance, and a treat that resilient immigrants would carry with them across the ocean.
Costume, a performance, and a treat.
I mean, who doesn't like to dress
up? The most
up?
emblematic folk tradition to emerge from this era was the jack-o'-lantern. Its origins lie in a popular
Role-playing is
Irish
also good
folktale,
for marriage. Just
a
saying.
classic trickster
True.
story centered on a miserable character known as Stingy Jack. While the story existed in oral tradition for generations, the first known version to appear in print was in the Dublin Penny Journal in 1836, giving the tale a firm and verifiable anchor in the historical record. The story paints Jack as a cunning but reprehensible drunkard, a blacksmith by trade, known for his miserly ways and his skill at manipulation. One night, the devil himself came to claim Jack's sinful soul. Jack, thinking fast, agreed to go, but asked for one last drink. Having no money, Jack convinced the devil to transform himself into a silver coin to pay the bartender. Once the devil had done so, Jack snatched the coin and quickly placed it in his purse, which held a silver cross. The holy symbol prevented the devil from changing back. Jack had him trapped. He refused to release the devil until he promised to leave Jack alone for 10 years. Having no choice, the devil agreed, and Jack let him go.
This is true. What Michael Deranged
10 years
said.
later,
the
devil
Very
returned.
true. I love that he brought this up. The first jack-o'-lanterns were carved into rutabagas or beetroots. I think they were. Because they're small, and then when they dehydrate, they just, you know how like people carve.
So it's like an
apple dolls, huh?
It's like a shrunken head.
Yeah. Like the apple dolls, they carve a face, and they eventually just kind of I turn these like horrific looking old people with no teeth. Yeah, they did, because the pumpkin was not as big as it is today. This has been bred over the years to get as large as it is. And so, yeah, it was like turnips and like whatever root vegetable. They would carve them out and poke holes in them, put the little candles in there. And then it turned into decorative, of course, as things do. But also, again, mimic what you fear to protect yourself from it. So little faces, little spiritual things, spooky things. But yeah, all that kind of stuff. Ark, I think you need to go take a lotion break. I'm not kidding.
Ark has been a little out of control all night. Like rein it in, bro. Come on. Okay.
To collect his due. Jack, seemingly resigned to his fate, asked for one final request: an apple from a nearby tree to ease his journey into hell. The obliging devil climbed the tree to fetch one, and as soon as he was in the high branches, Jack quickly carved a cross into the trunk, trapping him once again.
Yeah.
This time, Jack extracted a much bigger promise: that the devil would never, ever claim his soul.
I just fucked up my
The devil,
damn it.
furious but helpless,
Why did I do that?
had to agree.
Damn it.
Knitting over, crafting over.
No, it's
Eventually,
always unravel it.
Stingy Jack's dissolute life came to an end.
Unlike
He presented
the mistakes
himself
of my
at the gates
past.
of heaven, but was, of course, turned away for his sinful and cruel existence. With nowhere else to go, he made his way to the gates of hell and demanded entry. But the devil, bound by his promise, gleefully refused him. Jack had tricked him so thoroughly that his soul could never be taken.
Welcome to Purgatory, Jack. Enjoy.
He was now damned to wander the earth forever in the endless, cold darkness between worlds. When Jack complained that he could not see his way, the devil, as a final mocking gesture, tossed him an ever-burning ember from the fires of hell. To light his path, Jack took a turnip, his favorite food in life, hollowed it out,
the turnip is no one's favorite food.
Inside.
No.
From that day on, he was known as Jack of the Lantern, or Jack-o'-lantern, a restless spirit doomed to roam the night with his ghostly light.
You know.
Jack of the Lantern.
This compelling folktale gave rise to a new tradition in Ireland and Scotland. To protect themselves from the wandering spirit of Jack and other malevolent entities of the night, people began to carve their own lanterns. They would take a large turnip, potato, or rutabaga, hollow it out, and carve a grotesque or menacing face into its surface. They would then place a hot coal or a candle inside and set these grim lanterns in their windows,
that had to have an
or carry them as they walked.
Yep.
This was a form of protective folk magic, an apotropaic charm. gruesome face was intended to frighten away the restless soul of Jack-o'-lantern and any other evil spirit that might be roaming on Halloween night.
Wow.
This final vivid ember of the old ways completes the picture of the pre-modern holiday. It was a rich and complex tapestry, woven from the threads of ancient Celtic fears, Christian theological reinterpretations, and vibrant folk invention. The soul cake, the geyser's mask, and the turnip lantern were the essential tools for navigating the most dangerous night of the year. It was this complete, fully formed tradition that was about to be carried across an ocean, where it would be planted in new soil and transformed into something the world had never seen. This entire era of syncretism marks the second great stage in the evolution of fear. This was the medieval fear, a fear of divine judgment and the afterlife. With the introduction of Christian theology, the focus of dread shifted from alien spirits to the ultimate fate of the human soul. The primary threat was now damnation or a prolonged sentence in purgatory, and the human response became piety and intercession, using prayers, soul cakes, and protective Christian folklore like the tale of Stingy Jack to navigate a world defined by the new spiritual stakes of sin and salvation.
All right. I think that's a good stopping point after the jack-o'-lantern story, so we can I feel like that's like a good 50% of the way through the video, so we can do the rest next week. Do you feel good about that?
I do. Yeah, it's perfect. Lots and lots of good conversation. I feel like we've been kind of quietly listening to the ones recently, so it's been really invigorating to kind of revisit some spirituality and have some decent conversation, and of course mentioned the beloved phalluses.
Yes, we have to make room for the phalluses.
Absolutely.
Indeed. Yeah. Well, I got my knitting started. I'm at a good stopping point. It's got a welt, Jennifer. The knitting has a welt.
That's called a welt?
It's called a welt because it's going to be like a little. It's going
like
to have texture to this. It has texture to the shawl, so like it actually will stand up and have a little bit of texture,
like a little stripy ridge kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like a stripy ridge, except it's actually like elevated above the rest of the design, so it has a little bit of it. It's like a bump. It's like a speed bump on a shawl.
Do we play with the stripy ridge?
No, we just let it be. It's like it's a cool texture, but it's just gotta let it be. Just gotta let it be.
I would totally like fiddle with my stripy ridges. That's not meant to be sexual. I like to fiddle with things, people. Calm down. I'm doing my going around my border now.
There you go. Cool. All right. Well, that's going to wrap us up for this episode of DISENRAGE. We'll be back next week. I will be joining from a secret, undisclosed location in a brand new time zone. So,
which is definitely not Cancun.
It's not Cancun. Cancun is in the same. No, Cancun would be in a different time zone, wouldn't it be? It would be not the time zone I'm going to be in, but it would be in a different time zone.
I honestly have no idea.
I have no fucking idea. I've never been to Cancun.
I don't have any.
I'm like scared to death to go to Mexico. Honestly, like I'm scared to go to Mexico. I'm like, am I going to drink water and get like sick?
Don't drink the tap water. Always drink out of bottles. I've had a lot of friends who visit. I had a client who like owned condos there and would fix and flip them, and has like a part-time residency there in around the area of. Says nothing but wonderful things about the people. It's all about where you go and where you don't go, just like everywhere else. So
I'll have to keep that in mind for some time.
If anybody has, I'm seeing some interesting ideas in the chat. If anybody wants to message me on Karlyn's Discord, you're always welcome to send me movie suggestions, which I probably won't listen to. I didn't say that out loud. And also, if you have any DISENRAGE ideas, that's totally great. My purpose for movie night, which is coming up, which is every single Sunday. I started doing it 3 years ago. I love it to death. We're going to be doing this to the end of time. I do movie night because there are a lot of people who haven't seen movies that you should have fucking seen.
Yeah.
You're grown. You should have seen these fucking movies by now. So we're watching those, and occasionally some like little unknown gems that maybe you haven't. On this, hold on. My list is betraying me. There it is. Okay. I am going to pull off a double feature. I do 1 or 2 a year. So I think I've done one earlier in the year. So this year's second and final double feature will be The Addams Family. You know the thing. So we're doing 1 and 2, Addams Family and Addams Family Values. We will be starting earlier. So we do not do double features starting at 8 p. Eastern. No. People have to work on Monday. We start at 6 p.m. Eastern. So be thee warned. I will put notices up in the movie night chat. I will at everyone, so you will be aware that this is a thing. And if you miss it, that's my fucking problem. Sorry you're not paying attention.
I will say, just fair warning, I may miss it or at least miss the start of it because I have something else I have to do.
You will be occupied somewhere where there's occupiers.
I do plan to actually be there for some of it. I just don't know if I'm going to be there for all of it because it depends on other things that are going on that day.
So do me a favor, check in with me when you're able to join, check in with me because I do love having you talk and give us Karlyn gives us the upcoming announcements, the spy streams, all the digs, the inside shit, the inside baseball that we do not get on the stream. So you guys want to come to movie night to hear that.
That's actually very true. If you guys really want like the preview of what's going on, like people in movie night have known what I've been doing for like a while. So if you want the real tea on what I'm going to be doing and the spy streams we got doing, like the actual things, like I will just tell you what they are. Come to movie night. Yeah. But don't fuck it up. Don't spill the beans. One person spills the beans, it's all over. This is the cone of silence. Okay.
It is. There's a cone of silence over movie night, and trust me, we are an intricate network of very trained spies. Yeah. So if somebody spills, we know who you are. We will figure
you out, and we will kick you out, and you will never be allowed back in the Discord. And so just don't do that. Just don't fuck things up. That's all I ask.
Also, if you want to join Karlyn's Discord, where is your link to join the Discord?
So the link is sent out every week, and it is available on the main Substack in locals and on the YouTube channel, and I can send them out other places too. It's just like I'll like if you're a supporter on another thing, just like get in touch with me. I'll send you the link. But like I do send it out once a week on Substack. I put it in the chat section. So if you're a paid supporter on Substack, my main one, karlyn.substack.com, you'll find it in the chat. If you are a new YouTube channel member, because I know we just got a whole bunch of new YouTube channel members. Welcome. We love you guys. It is in the community post section, and I'll make sure to do that once a week. But you should still be able to find it there. The link should still work that's there. If it doesn't, just wait a couple days. I'll post it again on Sunday. All right.
They do time out. So if people go, oh, the link doesn't work.
Yeah, but for 7 days.
Timed out.
Yeah, but so I do post it once a week, and it should be good for that week. There may be a slight little like gap, but like if there's a gap, I will be posting it later that day. So just relax.
Yep. And I will be helping Karlyn keep up, especially since she's traveling. So people that are joining, here's what you have to do. It is in the rules and instructions when you join, but for those of you in the back who forgot how to read or just clicked through and didn't realize it, you have to tell us where you're from. Only pay subscribe members are allowed in the Discord. Why? Because there are assholes out there that we don't want in our private sacred space.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me what name you have on whatever you're subscribed to. If you're subscribed on YouTube is okay. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Subscribed on YouTube, subscribed on Substack, or subscribed on what was the other one? Locals. Mm-hmm. So give me your other identifier. If I don't see that, I will tell you to give it to me. And if you can't, you will never, ever, you'll be in purgatory. You won't be, because what happens is you go into the Discord, there's nothing available. Where's everything? Well, you must be approved. And Karlyn usually approves everybody. But since she's traveling, I'm going to step up and help. I will approve you, but I need to know who you are, where you're from, and that you are actually someone who wants to be there, that we trust. Because we talk about, inside baseball there.
Yeah, we need bona fides. And just so people know, I have several different Discords. This is specifically for the supporter Discord. That is completely separate from the Center for Left Wing Studies. That is a separate thing because it has to be, because it's a fucking nonprofit. So I do have several different Discords. This is
Red Menace Collective. Do you have that?
Red Menace Collective is also another one that's going to be more free and open. But the supporter Discord is for supporters and supporters only. And so that's the way it goes.
And I will be your gatekeeper for that. So, and if you can't figure out, okay, and let me just make one request. So I start maybe not usually at 6 o'clock Eastern, Mountain Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Please don't message me at 8 o'clock Eastern Time going, how do I get in there?
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of stuff. I will get to you when I can. I love you. I will get to you as soon as I can. But yeah, so that's what we do. We have to have some gatekeeping. I'm sorry, not sorry, but it is necessary. Trust and believe. So Addams Family 1 and 2 this Sunday. I've already looked at the trivia. It shouldn't be too bad. The only thing I need is some great music. If anybody has song suggestions, put them in the movie night message board or you can message me, your friendly neighborhood Jennifer. And MacB, who does Marvelous Monday Movie Nights, is going to be doing Salem's Lot 1 this Monday, which I think will be fun. I can't even remember if I've seen Salem's Lot, actually, now that I think about it. I'm not entirely sure. I really don't know. But we also, let's see, hold on. Oh, bring it back up. Clicky. Damn it, Google. Okay, to round out the end of Octoberween, I will be ending the month with Tucker and Dale versus Evil. It is awesome. It is a classic hilariocracy shall ensue. It is fabulous. It makes fun of slasher movies, and it is tits up one of the best horror movies ever. It's so much fun.
All right. Sounds good. Cool. Another successful episode of DISENRAGE. Thank you guys for hanging out. I will not probably be streaming tomorrow because I will be traveling. Maybe a late night stream, who knows? But keep an eye out on the Telegram channel. I will announce when I'm streaming. It's going to be a little haphazard over the next several days as I'm getting my bearings. So just bear with me. I'm going to get you guys some good content on this trip. It's going to be awesome. Ark, you settle the fuck down. Jesus Christ. He's like, he will not shut up about his cock. And I'm like, normally I don't mind people talking about big cocks in my chat, but it's just like you reach a point where it's just a little.
It's been a few hours now. Yeah. I like setting these little lotion time. So here's what you do, Ark. Rewatch the stream with some tissues and some lotion. And bada bing.
You know what it's like though? It's like when sex can be really good, but if even really good sex when it goes on for too fucking long. Like, and you don't have the heart to tell the man because he's like he's living his best life.
He's like, I'm doing it for hours.
I'm amazing. Excited about it because of how long he's lasting, and I'm like, can you please come? Can you please come? Can you please?
So like, okay, yeah. Oh, so good, so good. Ooh.
Like, honey, you're great. I love you. This is awesome. Can you please fucking come now? I love you.
It's called jumping the shark. You see, anyway. I do write smut, but I never wear my audience out. So you have to pace and stagger the smut. Yeah. And its variety, the intensity of the smut also needs to be paced. I've saw some people asking how they can follow me. I do not have a Jennifer anywhere, anything. I am an enigma. I have no Twit or X or Instagram. I do under my author name. And if you ask me very nicely in the Discord, I will send you that Instagram link. But I promise you, it's very uninteresting because I haven't done shit on it for a long time because I'm busy trying to move across the country. So I'll be more active later someday.
All right. That's all we got for tonight, guys. I will see you when I see you. I'm going to try to post videos from the road, and we'll try to do riot coverage, perhaps in person when we can. So
raw dog it.
Exactly. All right, guys. Have a good one, and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye, guys.